So you found the skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
All right, we are here with Kent with Bent 21, straight Kentucky bourbon, because we are old enough to drink now, so let's have a quick drink for being old enough to drink.
This is my beer.
All right, today we plan on finishing up Kent Hovind's Seminar 4. This is 4. Also, I've made the executive decision to go ahead and not watch Kent Hovind Seminar 5, since it's literally just a bunch of people getting murdered and having the murders blamed on evolution. That's not an argument, and I don't want to address Nazi school shootings and abortion. I will leave that to...
Why not?
I know, I will leave that to other people. Oh, and I said one of the no-no words.
Uh-oh.
I shortened the phrase National Socialist for some reason.
Why would you do that?
Because I forgot that I'm on YouTube, apparently. But anyway, I expect we were going to finish this tonight, and we're going to move straight into Seminar 6, and take a look at that excellent fleece blanket. That is the Dapper Dino fleece blanket, available at the merch store. It's Teespring store, link in the description, check it out. Or don't, I don't know, if you don't have money, I don't know, they might not even be shipping right now.
Check it out, it's free to check out.
Actually, I was looking at the Games Workshop store, it's a very nice mug, by the way. And every single item on there is currently not available. They are not selling things. I was just like, all right, there you go. And I wasn't actually planning on buying anything. I was just like, what are the prices right now? By the way, they are incredibly high. It's like twice what it was last time I bought a Warhammer 40,000 anything. Like, it used to be like you get 10 Space Marines for like 35 bucks. It's like 55 now.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's... man, it's rough. Anyway, that's enough of that stuff. All right, let's go over the drinking rules for tonight in case you want to drink along with us. First up, we drink whenever Kent gets something right, which, I mean, frankly, he almost never does.
Very rare.
Second, we drink whenever Godzilla roars, which Bent might be able to demonstrate right now for us.
He's a Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a sec. Dead air. No one likes dead air.
Dead air. Oh, is it not working?
Did not work.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Godzilla, roar. Drink for Godzilla.
Mine is very comfy, Adam. Very comfortable blanket. I love it. It keeps me warm.
Oh, well, Atheist Jr. said, I just bought my girlfriend a birthday present. Should have gotten her a Dapper Dino blanket. You know, Dapper Dino blankets are good for any time of the year, including birthdays, Hanukkah, Christmas. Easter blanket, Eid al-Fitr. Hanukkah, Diwali, February, March, April, May, any of those things. Thursdays. I mean, you just...
Thursdays.
Yep, you just pick a thing, and that's a good time to give a Dapper Dino blanket as a gift. Just saying. But, before we actually go with the video, though, there is something that I think we need to address, and I think, Ben, you know what it is about the whole Kent Hovind situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, a boy lost his life at Kent Hovind's Dinosaur Adventureland a few weeks ago. A 7-year-old boy drowned in one of his... He calls them ponds. As far as I can tell, they're just holes in the ground where the rain settles. Oh, drink for Godzilla, though. And, at first, I couldn't find any real confirmation from this, so I wasn't going to say anything about it. Because... I mean, someone on Twitter said that a boy had drowned, and I was like, that's not sufficient for me to actually just address, because some guy on Twitter isn't a valid source as far as I'm concerned. However, Kent addressed it himself on one of his, I think it was a Bible study video. And, yeah, basically, in addressing it, all he said was, oh yeah, a boy drowned, his siblings had a blast, they want to come back. Now let me tell you about this lawyer I hate. Drink for Godzilla. But, yeah. It's really, really shitty. And there was no talk about anything he's going to do about, like, increasing safety. Is he gonna put off limits without, you know, lifeguard signs up or anything? Is he going to do anything? Basically, all he said was, we had life jackets available, no one used them. And I guess that's, I mean, I believe that that's probably true. But, like, just, there was an extreme lack of empathy or apparent concern on the part of everyone on that team. And he immediately tried to make it, how can I be the victim of the circumstance, by launching into someone who complained about this on Twitter. So, yeah. In case you guys didn't already know, Ken Hovind is not only a coward who won't debate unless he has the ability to dox you, but he's also just a horrible, horrible scumbag all around who sells poison and doesn't care when little boys drown on his property. So there you go. In case you ever thought that Ken Hovind was anything other than absolute scum, the kind of person who, when he dies, the world will be a better place. Now you know. I used to think that I might be a little bit sad when Ken Hovind died. No. I'll say good riddance. But anyway, let's continue on with some more lighthearted stuff, because now I'm starting to get a little sad.
They say dinosaurs turned to birds. There are very few ideas as dumb as...
Well, we're going to drink for they say dinosaurs turn into birds, because that's technically true.
So he's known this for how long? When he debated you?
Oh, this...
He acted like he'd never heard this idea before when he debated.
So this presentation, I think, is post-prison, but not by much. So we can... Oh, drink for Godzilla.
Something, I don't know.
Oh, you're right. It might have been just before prison. So he's probably known for at least a decade and a half or so.
It's no longer than I've known.
Is this one. The Bible says God made the birds on day 5. He made the reptiles on day 6.
My question that I've actually mentioned to Kent is like, okay, well, what about the pterosaurs? The Bible doesn't talk about them because, you know, of course, no one around when the Bible was being written knew what a pterosaur was. But it's a good question. And I've never heard any creationists address it. And next time I talk to one, someone remind me. Ask them about which day the pterosaurs were made. Tell me that. You don't even have to super chat it. Just, if you add that to me and I notice it, I will ask.
Evolution says reptiles came first and then the birds. You know, everything about evolution is backwards to the Bible. Everything. But this article says dinosaurs...
I'm sorry, but if everything about a well-established scientific fact is contrary to, and I'm just going to say your interpretation of the Bible, that's a problem for your interpretation of the Bible, not for science. Like, I'm not here to tell you how to interpret the Bible at all. But if your interpretation conflicts with reality, well, sorry, go ahead.
Kent says he says he loves science, and then the only proof he has that birds did not come from dinosaurs is that the Bible says in day 5 birds were made, in day 6 dinosaurs were made, or whatever the days are. Like, that's just what 2 verses in the Bible. That's his only proof.
Yeah, basically.
It's not scientific at all.
Which also reminds me, I just got confirmation from Ken Hovind's secretary that he is not going to debate me and Erica. So it's no longer a presumption. It is now definite. And they said they were shocked to hear that anyone who was a Kent Hovind fan might have used any legal recourse against any of Kent's debate opponents because that wasn't Christian.
Didn't that already happen?
Oh yeah, it already happened. It was one of the things. Don't worry, the whole email chain is going to be in a video coming up from me and Godzilla Gibbon. It's going to premiere on, or I don't know if it's going to premiere, but it's going to go up on both of our channels. And then once she and I pick a day for a viewing party, we're going to view his 9 worst debate defeats, which will include my debate with him and Erica's debate with him, King Crocoduck's debate with him, Bill Ludlow, Aaron Ra, I think Conspiracy Cats is in there. I think Professor Dave is in there. Yeah, it's every time that he got utterly crushed. So I'm still open to adding a few more. So it might end up, it's going to be a marathon, and we're going to all be able to watch it together and chat in a text chat together. I found a few websites that will work for this, and I'm going to narrow it down in the next few days. And Eric and I are going to make a video, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. So here's more Kent.
Alive as birds, scientist says. Oh, wow, scientist says. Well, that proves it right there.
Well, it doesn't prove it, but it's a lot better than con men from Florida says. So, you know.
Just like it gives some kind of authority. Wow, scientist says. This is absurd. Everything about the bird evolution is baloney, okay? Archaeoraptor was listed in 1999 as the missing link. Yes, boys and girls, breaking news, National Geographic, we found...
Wait, was it that long ago, that Archaeoraptor? I thought that was like mid-2000s. I guess it doesn't matter. But here's the thing about Archaeoraptor, right? Do you know this story, Bent?
No.
I've mentioned it a few times. So what happened was, in Liaoning, there is a bustling trade in black market fossils. Believe it or not, that's a thing. Mostly because these fossils are of great scientific interest outside of China, but China has very strict controls over what it calls national treasures, which include fossils. Interestingly enough, it also includes pandas. Any zoo that you've ever seen outside of China that has a panda, those pandas are actually on loan from the Chinese Communist Party. And they are on loan for, efforts at goodwill, as well as so that other zoos can assist in captive breeding programs to help replenish the population. But those pandas are not actually owned by any of those zoos. They have to actually negotiate with the Chinese government. So the same thing is true for fossils. All fossils from China belong to the Chinese state, and you are not allowed to simply export them or own them. They can be loaned out. That's fine. The state can loan a fossil to a museum, but people still buy the black market fossils. And one of them was this Archaeoraptor fossil. It turns out that it was actually a composite fossil. The left and the right half were actually part of the same fossil, but they were the slab and counter slab. The bottom part was from a different dinosaur entirely. And every single paleontologist who looked at this guy, I don't even remember who it was, who bought this fossil, were like, nah, dude, this is a composite. This is not a real thing. We're not going to publish this thing as a complete animal. But National Geographic, not being peer-reviewed and not really having expert vertebrate paleontologists on staff, they were like, sure, it's cool. Let's publish it. And almost immediately, basically every dinosaur paleontologist came out and was like, nope, we told you not to publish with this, it's fake. And National Geographic had to publish a retraction. So this isn't something where the scientific community was fooled. It's something where the scientific press decided that it would sell copies. And it did. And they got egg on their face. I don't know how that's a problem for evolution, but I'm sure Kent will tell us.
The missing link. They had a whole big article about the missing link has been discovered.
That's true. Drink for true.
Then a couple months later, oops, it was proven wrong.
Also true.
Everything about these feathered dinosaurs has been proven baloney. But guess what?
No, because one of the animals that it was a composite of was Microraptor. Microraptor is so much of a feathered dinosaur that Answers in Genesis thinks it was a bird, even though it wasn't. It was in the same subfamily as Velociraptor. It was a Velociraptorine dromaeosaurid. Like, that's like saying, oh, this jackal, it's not a canine, it's actually a kind of horse. No, it wasn't. Nope. Wasn't a bird. But it was that feathery that Answers in Genesis has been like, no, totally a bird. Totally. Wink, wink.
They're still teaching it. Here's a whole book. The Feathered Dinosaurs of China. Well, you just got this recently? Why would they still be teaching something that's been proven wrong for 5 years?
By the way, RJ, send me a message on Twitter or something to remind me, send me to like tomorrow or something, remind me to make sure your debate is in there. Because if I don't remember if it is, and if it's not, it needs to be. So send me that message, because, yeah. I'm sorry, I just noticed that you were in the chat, and I want to make sure that yours is in there, because yours is great. I'm sorry, Bent, did you have something?
I was just telling Ken he was wrong.
Oh, well.
All this feathered dinosaur stuff is baloney. It's all baloney.
No, it's not.
Technically, this is before I debated him, so I don't know if he knew it was baloney, but, like, I'm actually working on a series right now where a creationist who calls himself In His Image, who actually seems like a really great guy, I went onto his channel during a live stream and chatted with him for a bit, and he seems like a really nice guy. So I'm trying not to be like a dick in this series. But he has this whole thing about feathered dinosaurs. And yeah, we're going to go through it. And we're not going to go through every second of it, but that's coming on the channel, and we're going to take a nice little dive into feathered dinosaurs. And yeah, I did things like, you know, read the peer-reviewed descriptions of the fossils. I know, crazy, right?
It's nuts.
We cover more on that.
Oh, that reminds me, Ben, do you remember when Ben was like, oh, did you hear about this dinosaur? And as he was sending me that message, I was like, yes, I have the peer-reviewed description of the fossil open in a tab right now.
He has no idea.
Yeah, no, he doesn't know.
One of the debates I did, I forget which one, but
Well,
they say birds are descendants of dinosaurs. Well, kids, in case you don't know, there are a few differences between a dinosaur and a bird.
Okay, let's go with it.
Okay, you don't just put a few feathers on them and say, come on, man, give it a try. It won't hurt too bad.
I mean,
No
that's...
one's ever done that.
Well, no one's ever done. Plus, I mean, he's showing a sauropod. It's not as far away as you can get from a bird while still being a dinosaur, but it's pretty darn far away from a bird. And the other thing is that if you were to show... Okay. So let's take a look at... Okay. Oh, I forgot to actually do the autocomplete because I'm an idiot. All right, so we're going to bring up a skeleton here. Okay, and let's see. What's a good... I want to make sure it's a good picture because there are a lot of bad pictures of this animal. This is actually pretty good. Oh, no, not open link. I want to open the image in any tab. Here we go. Okay, so this right here is the skeleton of an animal. What do you think, Bent? Bird or no?
I don't know. Let's go with no.
No? Okay.
I don't know. Let's go with no.
I can tell you right now it's a dinosaur. In fact, that's a velociraptor. However,
Okay.
without a scale bar, there is essentially no way to distinguish this animal from Microraptor, a bird that Answers in Genesis, as well as many other creationists, identify as a bird. So what are the differences between a bird and a dinosaur? I've yet to be informed of one. The only things that I can find are things that birds have that other dinosaurs don't. Which, fair. I mean, there are things that distinguish birds from other dinosaurs. But, yeah. Since apparently Answers in Genesis can't tell the difference between this and a bird, and this is very much a dinosaur, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and say that there really aren't any differences between birds and dinosaurs. There are just things that distinguish birds from other dinosaurs. Also, I have one minor complaint, which is the sclerotic ring in this is given as a solid piece of bone, whereas actually it would have been a ring of little bony plates. So that's the ring that's kind of framing the eye here in the orbit. That's my only real big complaint about this, but other than that, it actually looks like a really good skeleton model. I might want to try and find it. It might be on Sketchfab or something. So, if I ever add a skeleton of a velociraptor to my set, you know why. Alright, here we go. Oh, apparently not. Let me actually make this work.
It's just not that easy. See, reptiles have 4 perfectly good legs. Birds have 2 legs and 2 wings.
Oh, hey, just like that velociraptor and that microraptor. So, interesting.
So if his front legs are going to change to wings, somewhere along the line they're going to be half leg and half wing.
Oh, that's so stupid. I have to drink for it. Okay. Kent Hovind thinks that the default condition for dinosaurs is quadrupedality. It's not. Virtually all dinosaurs were bipeds. Quadrupeds were the exception, and quadrupeds are obviously derived bipeds. Because not only are the most basal members of every quadruped dinosaur group bipeds, including sauropods and ceratopsians, you know, the big long necks and the 3 horns, if you're a big fan of The Land Before Time, yeah. Ancestrally bipedal. And in fact, when you look at their front limbs, they're obviously just arms that have been poorly adapted to supporting weight. In fact, they can't even really get their legs to face the right way when walking quadrupedally. It's kind of embarrassing how bad Kent is at dinosaurs while calling himself Dr. Dinosaur. Like, I don't know how he has so little self-awareness, but that's why we hate him.
Well, his degree is in Christian education. Maybe he hasn't educated himself yet on Christian dinosaurs.
Go find the dinosaurs that believe in Jesus. Oh man, Kent.
Which means on that particular day, he can't run anymore, and he still can't fly yet, so he's got a real problem.
Unless he was bipedal the whole
Serious
time.
problem.
Wait, what is that thing that he's looking at?
Somewhere along the line, they're going to be half leg and half wing. Which means on that particular day, he can't run anymore, and he still can't fly yet, so...
Oh, okay, here we go. So we've got... Oh, drink for Godzilla. Okay, so what we got is some kind of dinosaur-looking thing with 4 fingers, so one more than actual dinosaurs that are closely related to birds. And the 4th finger is actually supporting the majority of the wing membrane, which is actually membranous, unlike birds, which actually have digit 2 supporting a mostly feathery forewing and a mostly feathery, rest of the wing. So the only thing I can think of is that Kent thinks that dinosaurs evolved into pterosaurs, which is just stupid, and that pterosaurs evolved into birds, which is even more stupid. So I'm going to drink, because that is some of the stupidest crap that I've ever seen. And don't tell me, oh, he probably just found that as clip art. No, Kent Hovind primarily uses art that he had commissioned for this. This is all his art. I mean, not his in the sense that he drew it, but he had it made for this.
I mean, it's cartoony and...
Why does it... Atheist Junior says, why does it have puppy dog eyes? Because it's sad about being unable to fly to catch that dragonfly that you can't see because Bent Hovind is mostly covering it.
Sorry.
I forgive you. Yeah.
It's because he's looking at the Dapper Dino blanket. He doesn't have his own. That's
yeah. Anytime you don't have your own Dapper Dino fleece blanket, it's a sad day.
He's got a real problem. Serious problem. They say Archaeopteryx is proof for evolution. You got one here on the table, brother? Archaeopteryx. Whenever you buy a bag of dinosaurs, they almost always stick one of these in there.
I've literally never seen a bag of dinosaurs with an Archaeopteryx, but okay. I mean, I see things that are not dinosaurs, like saber-toothed tigers and mammoths and Dimetrodon and Pteranodon, but I've never... Like, even the toy that he's holding, it's multicolored. It looks like it was hand-painted by someone. That did not come out of one of those dollar store bag-o dinosaurs. He's just straight up lying to his audience at this point. Oh, and apparently Atheist Junior says that Jesus forgives you, Ben, so good job.
awesome.
Archaeopteryx. Wow. And this somehow gets an impression to the kids. Wow, we got proof that dinosaurs turned to birds. Here's one here with feathers on it. They're lying. It's still in the textbooks. I mean, today, about Archaeopteryx, and it's been proven years ago, Archaeopteryx was just a bird, a perching bird.
Alan and Fiducia. I don't know how it is that creationists think that putting Alan Fiducia's genitals in their mouths continually is actually going to help their cause, because the thing is that Alan Fiducia... Oh, drink for Godzilla! Alan Fiducia actually agrees with the mainstream of paleontology that birds are archosaurs. He thinks they're pseudosuchians, which is stupid, and he actually thinks that Velociraptor and Tyrannosaurus rex and Therizinosaurs and all of these things are birds. He thinks they're giant flightless birds that just happen to have all of the characteristics of dinosaurs for reasons. And he thinks that because he's been so far backed into a corner that he can no longer deny that these animals had feathers. So, also, of course, he's wrong about Archaeopteryx. It turns out that the apparent inverted hallux, which is the big toe, it's the toe that points backwards on birds. In the original fossils that were found, it looked like that, but subsequent finds have found that that was a taphonomic artifact. Taphonomy is the study of how fossils get preserved. And yeah, Archaeopteryx's hallux, or digit 1 on the pes, or foot, didn't actually point backwards, so it couldn't perch like a bird. So this whole thing is completely meaningless, and I'm gonna drink because it's incredibly stupid that not even Alan Fiducia would agree with. Let's get my second drink soon.
Alan Fiducia, who believes in evolution, says it's not a missing link. It had...
No, he does say it's a missing link. He just doesn't think it's a missing link between dinosaurs and birds, Ken. He thinks it's a missing link between pseudosuchian animals, things that are closer to crocodiles than they are to dinosaurs, and birds. It's stupid enough. I'm going to drink it. You know what? This whole dinosaur bird thing is going to have a lot of me saying this is so stupid I'm going to drink because I know too much about this. Just a heads up, everybody. So if you're keeping up at home, drink for Godzilla. In fact, that means that I have to go get a second drink. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave you guys with some music and a show.
Music.
Yeah. Whoops. Didn't mean to have the intro play there, but that's okay. I am back with some boozy slushy lemonade because I had a pack of like lemonade powder stuff. It gave me this recipe for a lemonade slush, and it involved ice, the lemonade powder, and water. And I was like, but I have vodka instead of water, so I made that. So there we go. Let's see. Fun fact, Fiducia originally said the Velociraptor and other dromaeosaurs were dinosaurs. Yep, but flipped his position when they were discovered to have feathers. Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah. Yeah, Alan Fiducia has basically decided that all, at least Maniraptorans, are dinosaurs, and it seems like it would be hard for him to conclude that anything other than all Coelurosaurs were dinosaurs. It's... yeah. Actually, and James Downard says, fun to think how many of the fossils viewers can recognize. I can recognize a bit over half, I think, but I, at one point, recognized all of them. But, probably just over, or about half or so, that I recognize, at least to the point that I could look them up and find out exactly what they are within a few seconds of double-checking. But here we go. Archaeopteryx, which I'm pretty sure Kent Hovind is going to say is a fake, because I've seen him say that before.
The right features for flight. All the features of the brain were for flight, okay? Archaeopteryx means ancient wing, and he had claws on his wings. Well, that's kind of unusual, okay. But 12 birds today have claws on their wings.
It's actually a lot more, but I'm just going to go ahead and say drink for Kent Hovind getting something mostly right. There are actually a fair few birds with claws on their wings, so... I kept this in the freezer. It is thicker than it was when I put it in there. It is not easy to drink. It's really good,
The
though.
swan, the ibis, the hoatzin. Several birds have claws.
Oh, yeah, swans. Dude, they have thumb claws. They will slash you. Do not get into a fight with a swan.
I was just about to right after Kent Levent, but
Yeah.
I guess I won't now.
Yeah, don't. Swans can be vicious, man. It's... Oof.
They say, well, he had teeth in his beak. Well, not many birds have teeth. Some do. There's a hummingbird has teeth in his beak.
Kent brought this up with his debate with me, and it's They're beak serrations. They're obviously beak serrations. They're made of keratin. There's no dentin. There's no enamel. It's not... I'm trying not to push this into the R range for the stream. I did not know that this was going to get this bad this soon. They're not teeth, Kent. They're just not. Nothing about that is a tooth. It's no more a tooth than your fingernail is a tooth, you idiot.
Yeah.
I also no longer feel any reason to be anything other than completely vitriolic towards Ken Hovind, because he's recently proven himself to be a callous, cowardly scumbag. So, I mean, there's no... Well, again, but at this point, there's really no... I'm never going to have another interaction with him, apparently. So, I don't care anymore. Yeah.
Did you want to maybe play that interaction I had with him? Not interaction, but my response.
It's privated, so if you send it to me, I can do that.
I think it's unlisted, but...
Well, either way, you still have to send me the link.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what, we'll do that. How about we do that at the end of this video before we start up the next seminar that we're going to do?
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, so that way it doesn't interrupt the flow of this one. But yeah, we will play Bent Hovind's live reaction to a thing that Ken Hovind did. So, yeah. Okay, keep going.
But most birds don't have teeth, I agree. Actually, some mammals have teeth, some don't.
Yeah.
Some birds have teeth, some don't. Some fish have teeth.
No birds have teeth, but okay.
Some don't. Some of you have teeth, some don't.
Are there actually fish without teeth? And by fish, I mean non-tetrapod vertebrates. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but I don't actually know of any off the top of my head. But, I mean, I don't know. Guys, if you guys know for certain of a toothless, non-tetrapod vertebrate... Oh, drink for Godzilla. Hold on a second. I have to actually get some... There was a big ice bit that's blocked me.
Dinosaurs and their drinks, man.
There we go.
It's hard.
Ugh, man. It's good, but, like, it's thick. Yeah, so if you guys know of a toothless vertebrate without... that's not a tetrapod, you let me know.
Okay? So, missing link.
Oh, he's got the
Chinese
beer
dino
virus.
bird was a forgery, and we don't have time to cover all that today, but we give lots more on that on the one of the debates I did. It's true feathers and scales are both made of keratin, same building block, that's true.
Specifically, crocodile scales and bird feathers are made of beta keratin, which is only found in archosaurs. Weird little coincidence that, isn't it? But hey.
Yep.
Whatever. He's right, though. So we'll drink for him being right. Or I'm going to try to drink for him being right.
I'm going to get drunk pretty soon. I don't even have any alcohol in these drinks.
I abandoned the use of the straw and just poured it into my mouth. It worked. And that's not surprising since dinosaurs can't use straws not having muscular lips. So I don't know why I've been trying to use straws this whole time.
I think your butler probably was trying to help. But
Yeah, well, he's an idiot, apparently.
that may be true.
But that's where the similarity stops, okay? Actually, birds and reptiles have different lung system, different reproductive system.
What? Okay, first of all, birds have a different lung system from what you're showing here, which is a turtle and a frog, not things that are terribly closely related to birds. However, unidirectional flow in air has been found in crocodilians, iguanas, I believe some varanids, although I would have to double check on that, as well as it is actually known to have occurred in Allosaurus, which is a dinosaur not terribly closely related to birds. So, also, there's actually really good reason to think that pterosaurs had a bird-like lung system, complete with air sacs. So, yeah, it's actually not just so true that, oh, reptiles don't have the same kind of lungs as birds. Yeah, no, that's not how it works, Kent. In fact, it's dumb enough. I'm just going to drink for the...
T.D. Lang didn't care for what Ken said either.
That's a lot of no's.
No.
And yeah, I just drank for how stupid that was. God damn it, I'm going to die today.
You're gonna die today.
Yeah, okay.
Different body covering, different brain, I mean, a different circulatory system.
Oh, and Brainbug said seahorses don't have teeth. I mean, I can't verify for the moment, but that seems possible, so okay, cool. And there's Bent trying to verify.
Thousands of differences exist between dinosaurs and birds.
I
That could be a
misspelled
whole
seahorse.
seminar by itself.
How do you misspell seahorse?
It's one word. I put it as two words.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm not that
it's
smart.
interesting. There are two different kinds of dinosaurs, the bird hip and the lizard hip dinosaur. Their hips are very different.
Oh, he got that right. Let's drink for that. Good job, Kent. But the real question is, presented with a dinosaur pelvis, do you think that Kent Hovind could reliably identify which one is which?
I guarantee you he can't.
Ask an evolutionist, which type of dinosaur evolved into the bird? Was it the bird hip or the lizard hip? And they will probably kind of hang their head and quietly say, well, it was the lizard hip.
Okay, first of all, he got that sort of right. It was the lizard hip, so we'll drink for it. I'm gonna get drunk and brain freeze. Anyway, but no one's gonna hang their head and be like, it was the lizard hip. I'll just say right out here, you know what? I'm a quote-unquote evolutionist. Yeah, it was lizard hip dinosaurs. What do you want? Several times, Saurischian, which is the lizard-hipped dinosaurs, evolved a superficially ornithischian hip condition. You can change the angle at which the pubis projects. Okay. What do you want? Yeah, what do you want me to say? Like, oh no, the pubis bone has variable angles to the spine in Saurischian dinosaurs. Evolution is I don't understand, other than the wordplay, why this is an argument.
Oh, so now the hip's got to turn around backwards too. In addition to the...
No, it doesn't have to turn around backwards. It has to start It has to go from projecting anteroventrally to anterodorsally, which basically means it has to move like 45 degrees over the course of millions of years. It's not backwards. But
I think you mean 6,000 years.
yeah, okay.
billions of other changes you got to make, there's no evidence of how dinosaurs evolved to birds. None.
I mean, except for all the
Zero.
evidence.
So who's right?
Well, that's easy. You're wrong, so anyone else is at least more likely to be right than you.
Well, Richard Dawkins said, it's absolutely safe to say if you meet someone who claims not to believe in evolution, that person is ignorant, stupid, or insane, or wicked.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think those are the only options.
Which ones of those are Kent?
Wicked and ignorant.
I think it started out as ignorant,
Yeah.
then went into stupid, then wicked, and then insane and wicked and stupid are all together now.
Okay. I mean, maybe. I'm not sure that he's actually stupid. I think he might know very much what he's doing. Bring back up the Velociraptor.
Sure.
Oh, I closed it, but you know what? You're right. That's a good one. I still have it, so I can open up the image. So, yeah, this is a Velociraptor. It's a dinosaur. It's a Saurischian dinosaur. Which way does that pubis project there, Bent?
It's giving me like I know.
I mean, you know the bones of the pelvis.
Down.
Down and front or back?
Back.
Did you just make that up?
I don't know, was I right?
Yes.
I mean, it looks like something here where the pubis area is going down and then back.
Yep. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
This Velociraptor, which, I mean, if you look at the skeleton, it's basically just a resized T-Rex skeleton with an extra finger, right? Like, there are no bones on this Velociraptor that you don't find on a T-Rex. I think the only difference is it has, like, a pre-promaxillary fenestra, whose name I don't actually even know off the top of my head, because I can't remember all of the things. But, yeah. Yeah, this is a Saurischian dinosaur with a posterior-dorsally, or, no, God, I can't think today. A posterior-ventrally projecting pubis. The ischial boot and the pubic region are basically the same on this animal. Oh no! Kent is an idiot.
Sounds like he's open for a discussion. When I went to England, we tried everything to get to debate Richard Dawkins. He refused. He hung up on my secretary. His secretary hung up on me when I called back. Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your mind. There's no mental reason to reject Christianity. It's a logical deduction to say, hey, there must have been a designer.
Okay, even let's just grant him it's a logical necessity that there is a designer. It's a pretty big leap from that to Christianity. I'm just going to say, like, I'm not commenting here on the plausibility of Christianity as a religion, right? All I'm saying is, even if you could say that the existence of the universe demands there be a designer of it, that doesn't mean Christianity is true. There are a whole lot of other religions out there that involve the universe having been designed by some god or gods. But Kent has to go with those false dichotomies.
You see something complicated like this world, you say, hey, must have been a designer. Evolution's not a fact. It's not even a good theory. It's not even
I mean, it's both of those things, but okay.
a hypothesis. It's a metaphysical research program.
What?
Julian Huxley said, I suppose the reason we leapt at origin of species was the idea of God interfered with...
Isn't a complete lie?
Yeah, we've drank for it a few times today.
Yeah, but like, compared to the number of just... It's not like 8 lies in 5 words like that one time, but it was just lie after lie after lie after lie. It gets old fast.
Yeah.
with our sexual mores.
Oh no!
We don't want God telling us what to do. Evolution.
All right, I'm going to start skipping ahead a little bit to see if he gets out of this preachy mode, because I don't care about the reasons that he thinks people are sinning to believe or believing in evolution so they can sin.
Is a religion. That is a brilliant statement. See, if there is a God, eyes that I've covered, just because they have to, because that's their job. They like their paycheck every Friday. Door you can drive a truck through, brother. Wait, why are we sending?
All right, so we're going to call it for this video at this point, because at this point he's just preaching, and I don't care about his preaching. So, what I am going to do is I'm going to turn off this screen for a second that you guys can see. Let's see. So, you can still hear us, but you can't see Bent. Sorry, Bent. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the next video that we have downloaded for this, which is Seminar 6 of 7, because I don't know if you know. Oh, drink for Godzilla! But we have pulled up the next, well, not the next Kenthoven thing. So like I said at the beginning, but you may have just been joining us, the next Kenthoven seminar is basically just Godwin's Law times infinity, and I do not care. I am not going to respond to Godwin's Law. Not for an entire episode or an entire seminar of Kenthoven. Because basically it'll just be me playing a bunch of stuff and he says, and these people killed these people because of evolution. And I'm going to say, no, they didn't. And that's going to just continue for weeks. So we're not doing it. We're going straight into the Hovind theory. Yeah, because apparently Kenthoven thinks he has a theory. So here we go.
Throughout the world, geologists and
Oh, let me turn this up a little bit. Oh, you know what? I opened it in the wrong video player. So my bad. Let me fix that because I'm an idiot apparently.
So, and this is video number 6, right?
Yeah.
The one we've been looking forward to for years and years.
Throughout the
6
world,
and 7.
geologists and paleontologists find physical anomalies they cannot explain with the evolutionary theory. Hello, I'm John Gusty.
Hello.
And through a blending of scripture and scientific observation, the Hovind theory is a fascinating explanation of the flood, the ice age, the formation of coal, mountain ridges.
And I forgot, we're gonna watch your live react.
Can you pull his shorts up anymore? I don't know if they're high enough.
All right,
Come on,
so
fashion changes. It's a cheap shot. Sorry.
I know, but everyone, this is we're gonna go full screen on this. So this is Benthoven's live react to Kenthoven talking about the tragic drowning, and we're just gonna let this play. I'm gonna mute myself. Bent, if you want, you can respond, but I'm gonna mute myself.
Sorry.
Okay, so
Why is it so quiet?
Sorry, this is super quiet because Skype is a dick. So, I mean, I guess turn it up a little bit and Ben try to speak a little quietly because Skype is a dick.
I'm just gonna mute myself.
You know what? I'll mute you, and you know what I'll do? I will increase the audio on my computer input. So, give me 1 second. Gain. We're just gonna turn this up a bunch. And we're gonna go.
Action. Okay, so
Nope, that's not working. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix this. I'm trying to make it so it works.
I mean, I could just link it to the chat too. They could watch it later if they wanted.
Yeah, you know what? You might as well just do that. You link it to the chat. And we'll just continue on with this. I'm sorry.
We already talked about it. Like, if you're interested in
Yeah.
seeing what Kent said, and this is the only time I heard him say what he said.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
You can hear what I say. It's 3.5 minutes.
Skype likes to just drastically reduce computer audio, and I don't know why. In fact, I have to use weird tricks to get this audio to work. So, but Skype has also been our most reliable screen sharing program, except for that one time with Erica where it only worked half of the time. So, technology's stupid.
And the Grand Canyon.
I'm sorry, that's just a hilarious opening.
It's pretty great.
It's so dramatic, and all they're doing is sloppy pans and like dollying around Ken Hovind. Oh my goodness.
Of a liar.
Oh my goodness. That's so bad. Oh! Drink for Godzilla. Drink for Godzilla again. And a third time.
You might want to mute that group chat.
No.
Okay. It's going to get...
Well, thank you for joining us. It's an honor to be here at Tennessee Temple University. All three of my kids went to school here. I almost went to school here, was registered and enrolled, and ended up going to Midwestern instead, Midwestern Baptist College, but it's good to be here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm going to share with you this morning what we call the Hovind theory. What caused the flood in the days of Noah? I think Christians better have a good answer to the skeptics and scoffers. If you do any kind of evangelism at all, if you try to win anybody to the Lord, you're going to run into people who have a big obstacle to overcome called evolution theory. They've all been taught for years and years and years that the earth is billions of years old. It took billions of years to form the different layers of geologic strata.
I mean, most of them haven't been formed in multiple billions, but drink.
And you're going to have to overcome all that if you're going to win them to the Lord. First thing a missionary has to do is learn the language so he can talk to the people he's trying to reach. And I think we as Christians...
Yeah, you know what? I think that was true. So we'll drink for Kent Hovind getting it right. Man, that's a big piece of ice.
Better learn some of the language and be able to reach the people we're trying to reach in this community and around the world for that matter. Now, the Bible teaches the earth is about 6,000 years old, not billions of years old. If that's true, then we better explain some things. How do we get these giant canyons on Earth like Grand Canyon, even canyons on Mars bigger than Grand Canyon? How do we explain that?
I really hope he goes more into that, because oh my God, is he going to get it wrong if he goes into the biggest canyon on Mars, but let's keep going.
How do we explain the frozen mammoths, the big, huge, hairy, hippie elephants that are frozen, standing up, some of them? Where did all the water for the flood come from? Where did the water go after the flood was over? These are fair questions that the atheists are asking, and we better have an answer for them. Where does the Ice Age fit into the Bible? Why do kangaroos...
You don't remember the Ice Age? It's right there in Genesis 2.5.
Kangaroos end up only in Australia?
Drink.
Where was the Garden of
Godzilla.
Eden? What did God do before the creation? I mean, there are thousands of questions that we as Christians are going to come up against as we deal with the lost, trying to bring them to Christ. It is my prayer that this session, our video number 6 of our series, The Hovind Theory, will give you an outline or a theory of world history that'll give you the skeleton to hang the meat on. This is just a theory. I'm not particularly attached to any particular theories. If somebody finds something wrong, I'll change it, okay? But a lot of people have influenced this, and so far, after 16 years of speaking and teaching on this topic, have not found any serious flaws with the theory. So if you come up with some, please let me know.
Drink for Godzilla.
We're going to cover 3 main things today. The creation, which we covered earlier on seminar part 2, just touch on that. The curse, God put a curse on the ground, and then the catastrophe, the flood. What caused the flood in the days of Noah? We start off with the creation. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Before the flood came, the Bible says the people lived to be over 900 years old. You realize you could learn a lot in 900 years?
Drink for Godzilla.
Many people have never even thought of this, but Adam spoke every language in the world.
And again.
Because there was only one, okay?
Mute the group chat.
And he was married to the prettiest girl in the world, too, by the way.
The chat is going to die.
Things were very different before the flood came. We cover all that on videotape number 2 of our series. So get that seminar 2 if you don't have that one. The Bible says in 2 Peter chapter 3, knowing this first, there shall come in the last days
go get more
scoffers.
So I'll be back.
Did you know there are people that scoff at the Bible? And the reason they scoff, it says, is because of their lust. They don't want God telling them what to do. That's the bottom line every single time.
Wait, so I'm sorry. The reason that I accept the scientific drink for Godzilla, the reason I accept the scientific consensus on the age of the Earth and the origin of biodiversity is because I'm horny. Drink for Godzilla. And again. Holy crap, dude. And again. Adam Morgan, what causes Godzilla, excuse me, is Facebook Messenger notifications on my cell phone. So, yeah, that's why Bob Knob can trigger so many of them, because he's Facebook friends with me. So, yeah, because we were in the Navy together. But yeah, I just do not get the idea that the reason the scientific consensus is as it is because people are horny. Like, okay, sure, why not? You know what? Yeah. Everyone who accepts science is just super, super horny.
I've never seen an exception to that. After doing over 90 debates at universities and about 7,000 radio and TV call-in talk shows.
No, it's never that you've seen an exception to that. What it is you just assume it's true, and when people don't confirm or deny it, because it's weird to be talking about their sex lives in a discussion about evolution, you just assume that it's true. That's what's actually happened. I know because it happened to me, and I've seen it happen to other people.
I'm convinced the only reason people scoff at the Scriptures is because of their lust. There's no scientific reason to reject the Bible, and there's no scientific reason to accept evolution.
Okay, so what about all those super chaste members of other religions who are just as dedicated towards what you would see as your version of sexual purity, but who, because they're members of different religions that don't accept at least all of your Bible, don't? What's the explanation there, Kent? You think every Muslim and Hindu who's not off, banging random people because their religion says don't? You think every single one of them actually is actually doing that? Just going having wild, promiscuous sex with whomever they want, whenever they want?
But they just don't like God telling them what to do. Bottom line. The scoffers are going to say, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. This is called the uniformitarian doctrine. Hey, the way things are happening now is the way they've always been happening. Long, slow, gradual processes. We cover more on that on videotape number 4. The Bible says the scoffers are willingly ignorant. Willingly ignorant. In the Greek, that means dumb on purpose. The scoffers are willingly ignorant of how God made the heavens, and notice heaven is plural, and how the earth was standing in the water and out of the water. We cover more on that on videotape number 2 of our series, what the Garden of Eden was like. But the scoffers are ignorant of the creation, and they're ignorant of the flood. See, the world was overflowed with water and perished. The two things the scoffers are ignorant of are the creation, about 6,000 years ago, and the flood, about 4,400 years ago.
But what about all those Christians who also don't accept a global flood and a 6,000-year-old Earth? Do you think they're all scoffing? And what do you think? Do you think they're all scoffing at the Bible?
They are clearly not actual Christians. They're fake news Christians.
Oh.
Slash scoffers. Slash, I don't know, like believers of science or whatever.
Science.
Who knows what they are?
Who cares about science?
I mean, I love science, don't get me wrong. But I hate science, though.
Okay.
They don't want to admit God created the world because that would mean He owns it and He makes the rules. And they don't want to admit there was a flood because that means He has the authority to judge His creation. And I think we as Christians better have a good understanding of what that creation was like and what that flood did to the world so we can understand how things are today and be better prepared to evangelize this world we're called on to reach. Now, the scoffers are also ignorant of the coming judgment. There's a judgment coming soon, folks, to a city near you. Well, the scoffers don't like the creation idea, they don't like the flood idea, and they sure don't like the coming judgment idea.
Again, except for all those Christians, so I guess screw those guys, they don't count.
But if we can get a good understanding on these three, I think we'll be more effective in our evangelism of this world. The Bible teaches the world was created about 6,000 years ago, and God made a perfect creation. Dinosaurs lived with Adam and Eve. It was a wonderful place.
Yeah, it definitely says right there in the Bible, "And thus spake the Lord, let there be a T-Rex upon the face of the earth. And thus it was so. And the T-Rex doth ate the watermelons, because he did not eat meat beforeth the fall." Drink for something that's stupid. Yeah, that was definitely in the Bible.
Cover that on Seminar 2. And then God put a curse on the ground because of their sin. The Lord said, "Adam, where are you?" He was hiding, of course, because of his sin. He said, "Have you eaten of the tree that I commanded you should not eat of it?" Adam's first response, God said, "Adam, have you eaten of the tree?" Adam says, "The woman that you gave me," he tries to pass the buck, "Well, God, this is really your fault that I did this, because if you hadn't given her to me, I wouldn't have this problem. And if you hadn't made her in the first place, we wouldn't have this problem." Everybody does that. Try to pass the buck, "Lord, the woman that you made..."
You know what? I'll drink for saying everybody tries to pass the buck, because that is broadly accurate.
In other words, God, it's her fault
Drink
and
for
your fault. But
Godzilla
finally, he
twice.
confessed and says, "Yes, I ate of the tree." And then he said to the woman, "What have you done?" And she said, "Well, the serpent," implying that you made, tricked me, and I ate. She finally reluctantly confessed. And then God said to the serpent, "You're going to be cursed and crawl on your belly all your life." He said to the woman, "One of your curses is the man's going to rule over you." It's one of the curses, girls. The husband gets to be the boss, okay? And it is a curse in many cases, okay? And to the man, he said, I'm going to curse the ground for your sake.
Wait, for your sake? I feel like that's one of those things that doesn't translate well from, 17th century English to modern English. But, I don't know. It's just a weird phraseology.
Hey, the King James Bible is the only real Bible.
That's true. Forget
Every other Christian before that was actually a scoffer.
That makes sense. That's definitely true.
Cursed is the ground for
including
thy
Jesus.
sake. This is a fascinating verse. God said, "Adam, I'm going to curse the ground for your own good."
Oh,
It's
he's
good that the
acknowledging
ground
it,
is cursed because now you have to work for a living. This is going to keep you busy. You're going to work all day. You're going to go home tired. What if God provided everything for everybody all the time and you never had to work a moment in your life? All we do is sit around and think up ways to get in trouble. That's one of the problems with welfare. The Bible says God's welfare program is real simple. If you don't work, you don't eat. That was my welfare program with my kids growing up. You don't work, you don't eat. Plain and simple. It doesn't take long. They get their chores done. In the morning, you give them a list of things to do. Make your bed, do your homework, blah, blah, blah. You sit down for supper. You all pray together. Lord, bless the bunch as they crunch the lunch. Amen. Then you look, stop right before anybody eats. Let's see. Notice, son, your bedroom's not clean. And daughter, your homework's not done, so you guys go finish that and come on back and eat when you're done. You only got to do that once to get their attention. You don't work, you don't eat. That's God's welfare program. But in America, we got a serious problem because we pay people to not work. And God said, cursed is the ground for thy sake.
All right,
work
Ken,
is one of
I'm
the
gonna
best
start
things
skipping
for you.
some
It's
of this stuff.
wonderful. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread.
Can't
Chapter 6.
imagine
This is mostly what we're going to focus on today.
Okay.
God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and the imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping things, for it repenteth me that I have made them. And the earth was filled with violence. Everybody was wicked. And God said, that's it. Noah, go build a boat. And God said, make thee an ark. And Noah said to his boys, hey boys, go for wood. We got to build a boat. And so they went and got all this wood, and they built a big boat. And we
That was a pun.
Was it?
Yeah. Because the Bible said that the ark is made out of gopher wood. So Noah said to his sons, sons, gopher wood.
Oh,
Pun. All right.
cover more on that. People say, oh, wait a minute, hold it. Why would God make a flood for the whole world? Why not just kill all the bad people? Isn't that kind of cruel to destroy the whole world? I mean, after all, the penguins didn't sin.
Yeah, they didn't. Stupid penguins.
Well, no, God destroyed the whole world. I think there are some things to consider about this flood. Number one, the flood left
I'm sorry, what?
then where are the penguins? Do they walk all the way up from Antarctica to get on the ark?
Obviously, yes.
Because they can't fly, so...
No. Adam Morgan,
This-
Adam Morgan, you've only finished one beer? Man, you must not be keeping up.
This huge beer. Really big.
Yeah, I don't know.
left evidence where a miracle would not.
Oh, the flood left evidence. Oh my god, that's so stupid. I'm gonna drink.
Wait.
Apparently not, because my straw is blocked, so give me a second.
Don't use the straw. You can't use straws. You're a dinosaur. You don't have lips or something like that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, oh, hey, Duke's here. Hey, Duke.
If God had just said, okay, I want everybody to die except Noah and his family.
It would have left just as much evidence as the flood, since there's literally no evidence for a global flood ever. But okay.
What evidence would be left behind from that?
Just as much as is left out.
The effects are here today
No.
for us to see and remember the
No.
judgment of God on sin.
No.
Plus, by God telling Noah to build the boat, it gave everybody warning time. Here's Noah out there probably for who knows how long. Some people say 7 years. Some people say 120 years. The Bible doesn't say. But Noah's building this ark for a long time. People are watching him put this big boat together and said, man,
Drink for
Noah, are
Godzilla.
you crazy? What are you doing? He says, man, it's going to rain. Now keep in mind, it probably, I don't think you could prove this dogmatically, but it probably never rained before the flood came. So Noah was preaching about something that had never happened. He said, hey guys, guess what? Rain is going to fall out of the sky. Everybody's looking around saying, yeah, right. That's never happened. They thought he was nuts. Hey, we're doing the same thing today as Christians. We're going around saying, hey, one of these days, an angel is going to come down with the Lord, and they're going to come to the clouds and blow a trumpet.
Drink for
And the Southern
Godzilla.
Baptists rise first. You know, the dead in Christ go first. And then the rest of us are going to take off for heaven. And everybody's looking at us saying, yeah, right. Nobody's ever heard a trumpet blow from a cloud and saw people take off for the clouds.
I mean, I would say yeah, right, because the idea of a rapture is like a late 19th century invention of some little girl who had hallucinations and isn't actually a historical part of Christianity, so whether or not Christianity is true, it's a complete nonsense idea. Sorry. But hey, I just happen to know more about Christian theology than Kent does. I wonder, is there anything Kent knows more about than me?
What it's like living in prison.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's fair. Probably also what it's like living in Alabama. I've only been in Alabama for like a week total. But I had some really good hush puppies and fried catfish. And fried okra. I guess everything was fried, which is a thing I now know about Alabama. All the best stuff is fried. Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely delicious. I cannot complain about the cuisine in Alabama, but I can complain about... Oh, and also I got to touch a... what is that? Now, I'm drunk enough that I'm drawing a blank. It's an RD... What's the number?
You drunk?
The rocket engine. RD... What? 180? Is that it? No, not 180.
I don't remember what the number was. Let's go with 1 something.
Yeah, it's I got to touch a spaceship, a real one for realsies. That's actually going to go into space. But yeah,
That's just never happened. We're preaching that something's going to happen that has never happened in the history of humanity. That's what Noah was doing.
How to evade taxes.
He was preaching.
what's that?
He knows more about how to evade taxes than you do. Says Sphincter of Doom.
Maybe. Oh, hey, Sphincter of Doom is here. Well, welcome. And you know what? Here's a special message for Sphincter of Doom, the robot. Beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, beep. There you go.
Something's going to happen, and what he's preaching about had never happened.
Yeah, he knows.
So while he's preaching, this gave people a chance to repent. People say, wait a minute, how could the world flood? Could it rain enough to cover Mount Everest?
No.
I was in a debate one time, and this skeptic stood up, and he said, Hovind, do you realize when it rains, it releases heat into the atmosphere? I said, yes, sir. I taught physics. It's called the latent heat of condensation. What's your question? He said, well, if it rained enough to cover Mount Everest, the heat would cook the entire world. I said, you are exactly right. He said, but don't you think it rained enough to cover Mount Everest? I said, no, I've never said that. He said, well, do you think Mount Everest was covered? I said, well, I don't think Mount Everest was there. I don't think the mountains even formed till late in the flood. The Bible covers that in Psalm.
Well, that's stupid, so I'm going to drink for that.
Not after the flood, but during the flood is when they formed. But late during the flood.
Yeah, Mount Everest went from just a flat place to a mountain in 20-ish days, right? Totally makes sense.
Well, it was late in the flood, so the last 5 days or so.
Oh, 5 days, okay.
104. We'll get into that later when we talk about the mountain ranges forming on this planet. But no, I don't think it rained enough to cover Mount Everest. I don't know any Christians that teach that. I think what happened was the whole world was covered with water, but the water didn't come from rain. Very little water for the flood came from rain. So they build up this straw man that if it rained enough to cover Mount Everest, it would cook the world, and that's correct, but it's an artificial argument. That's not where the water came from.
You know what? I'm going to give it to Kent as this is correct, because the Bible does say that the floodgates of heavens were open and the fountains of the great deep were open. So it is actually not an accurate assessment of what the Bible says about the flood to say that it just rained and that's all that caused the water level to rise. So you know what? I'm going to drink for Kent. Kent got it right. There you go, Kent. Good job.
There are several theories about what caused the flood in the days of Noah. I'm going to share with you my theory in a few minutes, the Hovind theory of what may have caused it. We call it that because I don't want anybody else to have to take the blame for it if it's wrong. I will.
That is unusually generous of you, Kent, because guess what? It's very wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Take the blame if it's wrong. And this will not be super evangelistic. It's just a matter of giving you some scientific evidence to put things together in your mind and say, wow, maybe that's what happened, and give you an answer to some of the skeptics and scoffers and atheists. But we need to understand a couple things. The original creation was very different. The Bible says there was not only the earth, but there was water in the crust of the earth, under the crust of the earth, actually. Psalm 24 says, the earth is the Lord's, He founded it upon the seas. That's an interesting verse. The earth was built on top of the water. Psalm 133, He gathereth the waters of the sea together as an heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses. What today is in the oceans on the surface used to be in the crust of the earth, stored up.
It was in
big
storehouses, Ken.
Yeah.
Actual storehouses.
Yeah, if you want to take the whole thing literally, that's what you have to believe. You also have to believe that there was a...
You just read it.
Right. And you have to actually also believe that there is a literal firmament, which means a solid dome over the earth, in which there are gates that lead to the cosmic ocean above the earth, which got opened during the flood, because that's the floodgates of heaven. Which means that God opened them up to let water in from above the earth.
So not that much, because most of it came from within the earth.
I mean, okay, sure. But still, you have to believe there's a solid dome above the earth, which with gates in it. But Kent doesn't.
Did God take it away after the flood?
I mean, it doesn't say that in the Bible, so I guess maybe? I guess meteorology has never been Kent's strong point.
Subterranean chambers. Psalm 136, He stretched out the earth above the waters. Better read that verse very carefully. That's given us a powerful clue of what the original creation was like. And then the fountains of the deep broke open. The water that used to be in the crust went shooting to the surface when the fountains of the deep broke open. The Bible says in Job 38, who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, when it issued out of the womb? Well, I tell you what, if you've never seen a baby born, when the water comes breaking out of the womb, it is an amazing process. One of my friends was in college. His wife was standing there, cooking breakfast at the kitchen, and her water broke. Just like she wet her pants all over the floor. Gross. Her husband came running in. What happened? What happened? He slipped and broke his arm, and she had to drive him to the hospital and get his arm set. What a mess when babies are born. I delivered one of my kids at home.
I mean, did it happen? I don't know.
Not the way he's describing it.
Yeah, but like, whatever. It's a story that isn't completely implausible. Also, Kent, get a better tie. Your tie is boring today.
I like red ties.
Yeah, but there's no dinosaurs on it.
That's true. I like some red ties.
Yeah. His tie looks like Christmas wrapping paper.
It kind of does, actually.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Home, and when the water issues out of the womb, it is a royal mess. And he's telling us here in the book of Job, God is talking here in chapter 38. When the water issued out of the earth, it just burst out of the earth. And it says, and goes on and says, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shall thy proud waves be stayed. I believe the earth broke up at the time of the flood, and we still have the scars all over the planet where this happened. They're called fault lines.
What?
Just grab your drink.
Yeah, okay, fine.
And then resume.
Okay, yeah, it was a drink for how stupid it was.
I lived right by the San Andreas Fault. I've studied the Hayward Fault, the New Madrid Fault, the Golden Fault. None of them are my fault, but I've studied them, okay? There's no question the earth is busted up into plates, and there's no question these plates are moving. And when they move, it causes tsunamis and earthquakes and volcanoes. There's no question that stuff happens. The question is, when did this happen to the earth? I think it happened about 4,400 years ago at the very beginning of the flood. And evolutionists will say, so, well, don't you see that's proof of Pangea? These continents fit together.
Drink.
Can't you see how South America and Africa seem to be a fit? Well, yeah, now hold on a minute. How many have ever heard of Pangea? They teach us in the textbooks like some kind of fact, all the continents used to fit together. I say, guys, now wait a minute. There's a couple things you ought to consider about this Pangea theory before you get too excited. First of all, they'll say South America and Africa seem to fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, my house and the neighbor's house would fit too if you slid them together.
Okay, first, no, they probably goddamn wouldn't, Kent. So I'm going to drink for that, because that's just stupid. Second, one of the only reasons that they would fit is because humans like to build things at right angles. You know what doesn't occur much in the natural world is right angles. Yeah, exactly. In fact, you'll notice that if you look at the coast of Africa and South America, there are no damn right angles. It's easy to fit two things together when everything about them is made out of right angles. It's a whole heck of a lot harder when there's nothing about them made out of right angles. So it's a much bigger coincidence that you and your neighbor's house might fit, which I, first of all, don't believe in the first place. So
how would you even fit two houses together? Like, what does that even mean?
I mean, I guess it just means that you could, if you took...
My wall is parallel to the wall of the neighbor's house, so if they could be pushed side by side...
Like, if you took their floor plans, you could link them up so that their exterior walls touch for a significant extent, I guess. Yeah.
What does that prove? Nothing.
Yeah, but that combined with the known seafloor spreading probably means something pretty significant, Kent.
Hey, what happens when fault lines meet?
Well, it depends on the angle at which they're meeting.
But what are some of the possibilities that can happen?
I mean, one could subduct under the other, they could slide against each other, causing earthquakes, they could spread apart.
Okay. Which one of those causes a whole bunch of water to come out?
Let me think about it.
Would it be the nun one?
Yeah, it is the nunth one. Yeah, none of
the
those.
Nunth one.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Okay.
Doesn't prove the street oozed up in between them and the houses slid apart, okay? It's a pure coincidence. The shape of these continents is an absolute pure coincidence based upon the water level.
It even works pretty darn well if you raise or lower the water level, Kent. But okay, sure.
Evidence they use for continental drift is interesting. They'll say the shapes of the continent seem to fit.
Raise the water so that they were all completely flooded, then it wouldn't connect at all.
That's a good point.
I don't know.
Similar fossils are found in opposite sides of the ocean. Well, that may be true. But it's also true those same fossils are found literally all over the world.
Well, I'm going to drink for that because that's stupid. Because that's not true. They're only found all over the world in geological periods where the Pangea is hypothesized to have existed. As you go forward in time and the continents break up, the fossil record actually starts to become increasingly fragmentary. It's amazing.
Weird.
Those fossils found all over the world is just as much evidence of a flood.
Well, that's stupid, so I'm going to drink for that.
I mean, a worldwide flood, how far could the dead animals float around? Quite a ways, right?
No, because they pretty quickly sink to the bottom, Kent.
And then they'll say there are magnetic reversals in the mid-Atlantic ridge. Well, now hold on a minute. They don't tell you they shrank Africa nearly 35 or 40% to make them fit, do they?
They don't, because that's a lie based on you cutting out continents from a Mercator projection, Kent. If you actually look at a globe, if you take a globe and you cut out Africa and South America, you don't have to shrink them at all. No, I'm going to drink for it.
So Greenland isn't bigger than Africa?
No, surprisingly enough, it's not. Yeah, I know. A map projection that isn't equal area somehow doesn't give you reliable continent sizes. What a shock.
They don't tell you that Mexico and Central America are gone. Hey, señor, ¿qué pasa? ¿Dónde está Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala?
Yeah, because they're later formed land bridges that are the result primarily of volcanic action from subduction of the Pacific plate under the North American and South American plates. This isn't some kind of thing that the scientists just forgot about. They were just, you know what, a bunch of scientists were just sitting around one day and they were like, oh, hey, let's come up with the idea of Pangea. And someone was like, yeah, but what about, like Mexico and Guatemala? And then the scientists were like, nah, screw them. No one cares about those places. We'll just pretend they never existed. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
They don't tell you that Europe and South America were rotated counterclockwise and Africa was rotated clockwise to make them fit.
They do tell you that. Like every single animation of the, drift of the continents over time. In fact, I'm just going to find one. It's going to be easy. All right, hold on a second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to find this thing. Oh, stop being stupid. All right.
Sorry.
No, not you.
Okay, good.
Okay. So here we go. Oh, come on, YouTube.
Oh, an error occurred.
I know.
It's never happened before with YouTube.
I'm gonna mute this. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. Oh, why is this being weird? I don't like this one. I'm gonna find a different one. Give me a second.
Find a more better one.
I know, right? Here we go. 240 million years ago, 250 million years in the future, and we're not going to watch the future parts. So, thanks, Christopher TC, whatever. I'm going to put it on a little bit fast forward. Okay, so we're going backwards in time. So watch to see if the continents start to rotate. Oh, hey, wait. Is Africa rotating?
Africa's rotating.
Oh, my goodness. Wait, is North America rotating? Is Europe rotating?
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost like they do tell you that because people
Where's
aren't
India going?
completely... Oh, they're just going... It's going south because we're going backwards in time. Yeah, what do you know? It's not some kind of big secret, Kent. I'm going to drink for that being stupid.
And they also don't tell you what I think ought to be obvious to a kindergartner. Did you know if you took the water out of the oceans, you would notice there is dirt underneath?
Okay.
I mean, the oceans actually have a
That's true.
bottom
Let me
to
go
them.
find some kindergartners
How
and
many-
ask them.
You know, I'm gonna drink
They're
for
the
him.
experts.
Either way, I'm gonna drink just for him, just for saying, yeah, it is true. There is soil and sediment under the water of the oceans. It doesn't just drop right off to magma.
Say yo to the deviants.
Mikey, what are you up to, man? Welcome to the stream.
I knew that already, okay? I mean, they do have a bottom, okay? So people say, do you think the Earth was ever, the continents were ever connected? I say, well, duh, they're still connected right now. What do you mean, were they connected? Hello, they're still connected. They've always been connected. The Earth has a crust. Now, the low places are full of water, I understand, okay? But textbooks say, well, yes, there are magnetic reversals at the bottom of this mid-Atlantic ridge. Well, that's simply baloney, okay? There are no reversed polarity areas unless it's where rocks flipped over.
That is 100% completely false. And it's stupid enough that not only am I going to drink, I'm going to finish this drink and grab another one. I'm going on to drink 3, and we're not even 2 hours into this, and we're going until about 8, everybody. So...
That's another hour and 40 minutes.
yeah, buckle up. I'm not going to...
We're almost halfway done. Yeah. There's going to be quite a hangover tomorrow for one of the dinosaurs on the stream. I don't know which one. All right. Digging the music. That's it? What the heck, man? I hope you didn't go pass out. Intro music time. How's everyone doing tonight? Learning a lot from Uncle Kent? No relation? I'm learning so much. This is seminar number 6, the one I've been looking forward to. He mentioned 6 and 7 so many times. Ah, man.
All right. Sorry about that taking a little bit longer, but my next drink wasn't as well staged as the previous one. So, here we go.
When the fountains of the deep broke open, that may have happened in some areas. But this is a lie, talking about magnetic reversals. Even one author wrote in a book, Deep Crustal Drilling in the North Atlantic Ocean, Science Magazine, volume 204, he said, it's clear the simple model of uniformly magnetized crustal blocks of alternating polarity does not represent reality. What they show...
Drink. All right. I can't imagine that that quote was anything other than taken completely out of context. Because you don't just leave it at that, right? You're like, oh, hey, you know the scientifically accepted general idea of what happened? Yeah, nah, and then you just leave it. So, I'm going to go ahead and say that that guy...
Hey, I can't hear you.
Oh.
I can only hear Kent.
I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself on your end.
Like, what's going on?
The audience has been hearing me this whole time.
I'm
Anyway,
probably interrupting you and like
no, you
dancing longer than
you
music.
didn't interrupt me. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy had more to say about it, Kent, and stuff that doesn't agree with what you think. But you didn't bother to tell us what he said, and I'm not going to go look up some back issue of Science magazine. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that you're a liar, because you always are.
You in your textbooks is not reality. Now, Walt Brown has a great book called In the Beginning. I disagree with Walt Brown on a couple of key things, and he's a friend of mine and a brilliant man. PhD in physics, taught at the Air Force Academy for years, has a website, creationscience.com, but I highly recommend his book in spite of our minor disagreements. He's got some...
Wait, are they key things or are they minor things, Kent? Because you said you disagreed on a few key things. But then you're like, despite our few minor disagreements, pick one. Pick a lane, Kent. Pick one.
Great stuff on here on magnetic reversals. No, there are no magnetic reversals. Only stronger and weaker magnetism.
Oh my god, I'm going to drink for that again, because it's just so completely wrong that I... Like, they are reversals to the extent that if you hold a compass over them, yeah, you can tell. The north-south polarity is actually damn flipped. It's not even like a question, right? It's... I'm going to drink to finish off this last little bit of this lemonade, which, by the way, is actually pretty good. It's Dell's Lemonade, in case any of you are in Rhode Island.
Is this the part where Kent's giving his evidence for the flood still?
Kind of?
Has he given any evidence yet? Does Kent know what evidence is?
No, that's an easy answer. No, he does not. Oh, my ice cubes froze to the bottom of my glass. It's weird.
Does he realize that he doesn't know what evidence is, or does he actually think he does know what evidence is?
That I don't know, because I'm not going to sit here and psychoanalyze Kent Hovind.
I got a debate topic. I'll debate Kent Hovind.
You should try, honestly. You should try.
The topic is Kent Hovind does not know what evidence is.
You might have to go with
And I'll
what is
dox
evidence.
myself. My name is Bent Hovind.
No relation.
No relation, and he knows, I mean, he'll know what this beautiful face looks like. It looks like this.
Yeah. What does my face look like? Move your head.
Your face looks like that.
Well, it's less crooked than that, but yes.
Well, not when you're drunk.
Well,
okay, that's fair. Okay.
It's actually a jumbled up mess down there at the mid-Atlantic ridge. See, the Earth has lost 10% of its magnetic strength in the last 150 years. It's lost.
Hey, that's approximately correct. I'll drink for it. Man, my drink is apparently having some kind of, like, Coca-Cola condensation. It's leaving little, like, mostly water, but a little bit Coca-Cola puddles on my desk, and I don't like it. So,
Why don't you use a coaster?
That's a good question. I have a coaster.
Dinosaur coaster.
Oh, there's a coaster. I just forgot where my coaster was, is apparently the answer to your question, so there you go. Alright, well, I cleaned up the Coca-Cola puddle, and here comes a coaster. There you go. Better.
Lost 40% of its strength in the last 1,000 years. It's pretty overwhelming evidence that the Earth's magnetic field is getting weaker.
Yes, it's overwhelming evidence that presently the Earth's magnetic field is getting weaker. It is not overwhelming evidence that you can extrapolate that trend back into the infinite past and forward into the infinite future to determine how old the Earth is. I mean, oh my god, I'm gonna drink for it.
What does that mean? Well, that means it used to be stronger. And if the Earth's magnetic field is getting weaker, this creates a problem, because if you go back in time about 25,000 years, the magnetic strength would have been too great for life to exist here because of the heat generated. And so the evolutionists have to find an answer for the problem. Hey, we're watching the magnetic field decline, so it must be going through reversals. It has never been observed to reverse. It's only been observed to decline. I think Walt Brown has the best theory on continents.
Yeah, in the past 150 years. But the thing is, if you look at the mid-Atlantic ridge and you look at the speed with which the continents are moving, and you don't pretend that you can make the continents race around at 30 miles an hour, then it actually makes sense that in 150 years we haven't seen a magnetic pole reversal, because that's not the kind of timescale in which it typically happens. So, there you go.
Continental drift. Let me play this for you real quickly. This is what's called the hydroplate theory by Dr. Brown. To me, it answers a lot of questions.
We can see on our planet 17 very strange features that can now be systematically explained as a result of a cataclysmic global flood whose waters erupted from subterranean chambers with an energy release exceeding the explosion of 10 billion hydrogen bombs.
And that wasn't a problem for the Ark?
Nope.
Nope, I'm gonna drink for it, because that was, oh my, this is like the worst episode we've done in terms of how stupid it is.
It's pretty bad.
This explanation shows us just how rapidly major mountains formed.
What?
It explains the coal and oil deposits,
How?
rapid continental drift,
What?
why ocean floors have huge trenches and hundreds of canyons and volcanoes.
What?
It explains the formation of the layered strata
Huh?
and most of the fossil record.
Oh my god, no, it doesn't explain any of those things.
I thought there was no fossil record.
Well, okay.
Look, we haven't observed a global flood in the last
150.
4,400 years, so it's
Oh
hard to
my
say what
goodness. Oh, this is... Wow. This has got to be the stupidest seminar so far.
The
This is the
so-called
one he's most proud of.
That's true. Oh my god, it's true. And it does. It makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
stages and major land canyons, especially the Grand Canyon. The pre-flood Earth probably had one very large supercontinent containing lush vegetation, seas, rivers, and minor mountains.
Drink for Godzilla.
According to the hydroplate theory, the pre-flood Earth had a lot of subterranean water, about half of what is now in our oceans.
Okay, so I want you guys to take a look at this. He's presenting this layer of water, right, underneath the crust, including the oceanic crust and the continental crust. Okay. So, Bent, what is under the crust?
The mantle.
Okay. So, it obviously would have had to have been super hot water, right? Because the mantle's pretty darn hot. So, it would have had extremely high pressure and have been less dense than the crust above it.
Very high pressure.
And significantly less dense, because I don't know if you know this about rock, but it tends to sink in water.
Pretty dense, yeah.
Okay, so why did this arrangement not just immediately erupt into the flood?
Because God held it back.
Oh, right. So magic. So is that a scientific theory?
No.
No. Is there any actual reason to think that this happened?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
This water was in interconnected chambers, forming a thin spherical shell, about half a mile thick, perhaps 10 miles below the Earth's surface. Increasing pressure in the subterranean water chamber stretched the overlying crust, just as a balloon stretches when the pressure inside increases. Failure in the crust began with a microscopic crack, which grew in both directions at about 3 miles per second.
3 miles per I'm sorry, hold on a second. I have to...
So a microscopic crack formed with all this pressure because the rock was stretching, because you could just go stretch rocks, right? I mean, who doesn't do that right after Kentwood Vent? They go stretch their rocks, right? And then suddenly it just kind of like exploded apart at 3 miles per second.
That is an absurd speed.
And the evidence for this is...
My interpretation of the Bible doesn't make sense unless it's true. That's the evidence. I'm going to drink for that, because that is so damn stupid. Kent, how do you think that this in any way supports your position? Like, seriously.
The crack, following the path of least resistance, encircled the globe in about 2 hours. As the crack raced around the Earth, the overlying crust opened up like a rip in a tightly stretched cloth. The subterranean water was under extreme pressure because of the weight of the 10 miles of rock pressing down on it.
Oh, and TD Lane did the math for us. That's 10,800 miles an hour for the crust to move across the Earth. Oh my god.
That's crazy.
Oh my god. Okay.
So the water
Wait, no, there's no way Noah would have survived this. Suddenly, Noah, in the course of a few seconds, is traveling at 10,800 miles an hour? Because he started out on the crust of the Earth. I don't know if you know, guy who's talking.
Didn't that water shoot up into space?
Yeah, presumably.
Or that steam, I guess?
I mean, heck, what's orbital velocity at sea level? I'll bet it's actually not too far off of the speed the continents would have been going. I think I could put the continents into orbit. Go check on it. Someone in the chat check on it, because I want to see if we could get orbital crust plates, because
that's how the moon formed.
Oh my god. At least I don't have brain freeze anymore.
exploded violently out of the rupture. Calculations show that all along this globe-encircling crack, fountains of water jetted.
Calculations, by the way.
What's up?
So don't show those calculations.
Oh yeah, no. Why would anyone ever want to check your work? That's just crazy.
Supersonically over 20 miles into the atmosphere.
Yeah, I'll say it's
the
supersonic.
spray from this enormous fountain produced torrential rains such as the Earth has never experienced.
Oh, so it wasn't the floodgates of heaven, so the Bible was wrong? Is that what you're saying? Is that what he's saying?
It was also the floodgates of heaven.
Oh, okay.
Before or after. The Bible states that all the fountains of the great deep burst open on one day. And it describes these events about 4,500 years ago, which we can now tie together scientifically in cause and effect order as the hydroplate theory. The fountains of the great deep and the expanding steam produced violent winds.
Violent winds? Oh my goodness, yeah, that's an understatement.
Some of the water jetting high above the cold stratosphere froze into supercooled ice crystals and produced some massive ice dumps.
No! All of that energy would still have to be converted into thermal energy after it was kinetic energy. That's not how physics work. That's not how thermodynamics work. It would have cooked the entire planet alive. I'm gonna drink. I should stop adding Coke. I should just go get my handle of booze and start sucking from it like the pig sucking at its mother's teat.
Okay, it seems like a bad idea, but...
Yeah, well, at this point, like, oh my goodness. This is, every step of this is completely absurd beyond belief. None of this makes even a modicum of sense, just from the very basics of physics. We're talking like high school physics is like, nah, bro, that don't make no sense.
If you go to the Rational Wiki hydroplate theory, there's a warning on it that says, this page contains too many unsourced statements.
Burying, suffocating, and instantly freezing many animals.
But not Noah, conveniently.
The high-pressure fountains eroded the rock on both sides of the crack.
Well, yeah, they were.
And even threw up the limy contents of many pre-flood seas.
Wait, there were British people under there? Get it? The limy contents?
No.
Yeah. Take that, British people who are probably watching, maybe? I love
The
you all.
subterranean water sprayed upward with such great force that it causes the worldwide rainfall 40 days and 40 nights, obviously, but it also made the comets and the asteroids and the trans-Neptunian objects and anything else they don't understand.
The trans-Neptunian objects?
And anything else they don't understand.
Okay. Wow.
Huge volumes of sediments settled out of this muddy water all over the earth. These sediments trapped and buried plants and animals, forming the fossil record. The flooding uprooted vegetation, moving it to regions where it accumulated and quickly became coal and oil by processes we can duplicate in the laboratory today. Experiments show that as erosion widened the rupture, its width became so great that the compressed rock beneath the subterranean chamber sprung upward, giving birth to the mid-oceanic ridge that wraps around the earth like the seam of a baseball.
I mean, only on one side, but okay, sure. Yeah, no, I'm gonna drink. Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to do anything tomorrow. I'm just gonna be hungover for the next 24 hours. I can tell.
Yeah.
The continental plates, the hydroplates, still with lubricating water beneath them, slid downhill away from the rising mid-Atlantic ridge. After the massive, slowly accelerating continental plates reached speeds of about 45 miles an hour, they ran into resistances, compressed, crushed, thickened, and buckled. The portions of the hydroplates that buckled up formed mountains.
Can you show any of your math on this? Like,
I'm reading about the math of this. It's ridiculous. like from Rational Wiki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Chicxulub impactor. I don't know anything about this.
That's the asteroid that probably killed off most of the dinosaurs.
So the energy required to do this would be if 2,691 of those happen every second for 40 straight days.
But Noah was fine, right?
9.3 times 10 to the 32nd joules of energy.
But Noah was okay, though.
Oh, yeah, he's fine.
He's fine. Absolutely fine. Oh, my God.
The energy would destroy the Earth Alderaan style. Like, the energy has to go somewhere. I'm reading that. Like,
oh, my God. Awesome.
Those that buckled down formed ocean trenches. This is why these features are generally parallel.
And Vandalia 1998, yes, we are going 3 hours instead of 2. So we're going to continue on until 8 instead of 7, even though we started an hour early. Because somebody had to, like, stay home because of some kind of a crazy quarantine or some crap.
Yeah, I work at a hospital. I can't even do work. They have to cancel all their procedures because, oh, we don't have enough masks. Doctors.
Just go to the Halloween store and get masks.
No, it has to be a certain type of mask.
No, it doesn't. It has to be any kind of mask.
No, it has to be a certain type of mask.
No. Look, if the
I mean, I could tell them that, but
if the Kent Hovind theory can be right, then I can be right that it can be any kind of mask.
I suppose.
To the oceanic ridges from which they slid. The hydroplates, in sliding away from the oceanic ridges, opened up very deep ocean basins into which the floodwaters retreated. Every continental basin was naturally left brimful of water, producing many post-flood lakes. Each lake that grew from rainfall or drainage from higher elevations spilled over its rim at the lowest point of the rim. That eroded a little notch in the rim, allowing even more water to flow through the notch faster, cutting the soft flood-deposited sediments even deeper. This process
focused on his hands for no reason.
Yeah, it was some interesting communication style with the hands.
Like no one could understand what he's talking about. Let's do this.
I actually kind of like the hand motions, if I'm being honest.
accelerated until all the lake's water dumped through a very deep slit, forming a canyon. The largest of these was the Grand Canyon.
Oh my god. Does that explain why there are switchbacks in the Grand Canyon? Oh, hey, nice. Was that a coaster?
Yeah.
Nice.
Some of us use coasters.
I have a coaster right here. It's wood.
And now you do.
And I think it's actually wood and copper. Yeah. Or maybe it's brass or something. I don't know.
There's copper and brass.
It's mostly copper. But, yeah, no. I think we're going to get into it further, so I'm not going to super elaborate, but there is just no chance that the Grand Canyon is a spillway. So I'm going to drink for how stupid it is.
North and east of the Grand Canyon was a huge lake that I have identified and named Grand Lake.
Oh,
Its
he identified.
He named it that, huh? Yeah, okay.
dumping released more water than is in all 5.
Hey, Bent, look where it is. It's in the place that we live in.
It's right there.
Yeah, there's the place that we live in is on the map.
Yep.
The Great Lakes.
America. Ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Grand Lake spilled over its rim, eroded its dam, 20 miles south of Page, Arizona, catastrophically forming the...
Wait, no, you can't say Arizona on YouTube. That's one of the words that gets the video demonetized. It's actually true, by the way. If you put Arizona in the title to your video, there's a really good chance you're going to get demonetized. Why? I don't know.
Grand Canyon.
Why don't they just demonetize every video?
Oh, because then no one would upload. I wouldn't. I mean, I might, but not nearly as often. Like, I upload... Like, right now, I have about 3 videos a week if you count with Bent.
I do.
So, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Within a few weeks.
There. That is Walt Brown's hydroplate theory, which to me makes the most sense of anything I've seen.
Right, because, you know, if you read the wiki on it, it would be completely preposterous.
You know what?
So why wouldn't you believe it, Kent?
Exactly. And I'm going to drink to that, because that was amazingly stupid. Oh, hey, there's Mothra. Someone was asking earlier about where's Mothra. There's Mothra. We'll drink for Mothra. All right, let's keep going.
Explain several things. If the crack would widen around the mid-Atlantic ridge as the water is shooting out, it's going to spread out, allowing the basalt underneath to bulge up, which is precisely what happens. As the basalt bulges up, it's going to get cracks in it, and it's also going to slide the superimposing plates away from them. They're going to slide and run into something else, and it would explain the compressed mountains we see in, for instance, British Columbia, where the mountains are smashed from the end. I mean, the wrinkles go up and down. The mountain it's like somebody pushed carpet up against the wall, causing it to wrinkle. I think Christians need to have an answer for those kind of things, and this is one of the possible answers. When the basalt cracked, the water would rush into the crack, cooling it down.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
They should have good answers, Kent.
Yeah, they
Not
should
just
have.
any old answer.
Right.
And cool rock holds a magnetic field. Hot rock will lose a magnetic field.
Yeah, but then it cools, Kent. That's the thing about things that are hot. They cool off. That's why if... Yeah, well, yeah, but like if you know, like let's say you make some soup, right? And you boil the water. Okay, then you put it in your bowl. You know what it doesn't do is keep boiling.
Are you sure?
I'm extremely sure. In fact, in one of my videos, I demonstrate that by boiling some water on my stove and then taking it off of the hot burner.
What if your bowl of soup is magically boiling, though?
Oh, well then, who knows?
Okay, just magic then.
Yep.
So when they found what they said were magnetic reversals at the bottom of the ocean floor, they're actually finding the old cracks where the basalt broke.
And that caused the magnetic field to reverse because Kent isn't going to tell us, so let's drink for it.
Because there were going to be warmer and cooler areas from simply the water rushing in. Those cracks are probably now all full of sediments. So don't let them tell you there are magnetic reversals. There may be a few from the rocks flipping over at the flood, but I think a much better theory is the hydroplate theory. So, as the continents were sliding away, some places are going to be sucked under, plate subduction. Now, Baumgartner has a great theory on plate subduction. I think his ties in here also, that the plates would tend to be sucked down. You ever stir pudding up and it gets a film on top? If you push in on the film on the pudding, it'll sink to the bottom and drag the rest of it with it. Magma does the same thing from a volcano. When it cools down, the lava gets a hard crust, and then if it sinks in one place, it'll drag a whole sheet of magma, of lava with it. This probably happened also during the flood. See, the continents are eroding. When it rains, you have landslides, mudslides, erosion, mass wasting, ground creep. All of those things are happening continually. Like last night in the thunderstorm here. I'm sure a lot of erosion took place around Chattanooga. Well, this mud is going to wash into the ocean. So two things are happening. The mountains are getting shorter. The oceans are filling in. But at the current rate of erosion, the continents are going to erode flat in 14 million years. So the evolutionists have a serious problem. They have to explain two things. Why aren't the oceans full of mud? Because there's only a few thousand years worth of mud in the oceans. And
oh, it's this little thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called subduction, Kent. You think Kent has ever heard of subduction?
Isn't he? No.
No? You don't think he probably has.
I'm going to have a stroke. I'm going to have a stroke right now.
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's drink for a stroke then.
I did. I just did.
Oh, I'm going to drink for it because I didn't.
why haven't the mountains eroded away yet? That's why this Pangea theory is so important to them, because they can say, oh, it's being recycled. They'll say,
yeah, never mind the actual observed subduction. Yeah, that's not a thing. Don't worry about that, Kent.
the ocean floor doesn't have much mud because it gets pulled under and remelted and it comes up again in the middle.
Yeah, explaining the volcanoes around the Ring of Fire. Ever heard of it? No, of course you haven't.
So it's being recycled. Well, that may be, but there's another reason. It may be there's not much mud down there because it's not millions of years old. Plates are moving, there's not much question about that, but that doesn't prove they've always been moving, and it doesn't prove the rate has always been the same as we see today. I think students should be told there are other options than what they're being taught in school. Now, I live right by
Interstate. When you want them to, Ken.
Sorry, start that over again?
Rates of change only apply when you want them to, Ken.
Right. Yeah.
Interstate 10 in Pensacola, Florida. Interstate 10 runs all the way from Los Angeles to Jacksonville, Florida.
I feel like some of that water depicted here is inaccurate. Is the continental United States an island? Did I miss something? Where'd Canada go? Where'd Mexico go? I feel like I'm missing something.
If I see somebody headed east on Interstate 10 at 70 miles an hour, does that prove they started in Los Angeles 4 days ago? No, they might have just got on at the last exit, right?
Right, but if you could go back and check like receipts from gas that they bought and you saw that they actually started all the way back in Los Angeles because of the receipts, then maybe it would indicate that. Which is basically...
You're talking about evidence?
Yeah. Which is basically what we can do. So...
Is that the thing Kent doesn't know anything about?
It's one of
evidence?
the things Kent doesn't know anything about. One of them.
Hey, remember when you were like, hey, why don't we just do 3 hours of Kent with Ben instead of 2? And I was like, sure.
And now
what's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst that could happen?
Strokes. I could have a stroke.
Right, yeah, okay. Well, if you have a stroke, look, if we both die, how about this? If we don't tweet tomorrow, if I don't tweet tomorrow, send the cops. If Ben doesn't tweet tomorrow, probably don't send the cops because he never tweets anyway.
I don't tweet very often.
Yeah.
Most of my tweets are Dabber saying, hey, you should tweet this.
Yeah, basically.
Good idea.
Just because we see these continents moving a little bit today does not prove anything long-term historically. Don't fall for that propaganda. The continental drift theory is designed to avoid two problems for the evolutionist. One, the magnetic field's getting weaker.
Not a problem.
Number two, there's very little sediment in the ocean.
Not a problem. Okay, I don't see it. You know what? I'll drink for it because that was stupid.
And another explanation for that might be that the Bible is right and the earth is not billions of years old. People say, where does the Ice Age fit into the Bible? There certainly was an Ice Age. There's not much question. Ice came all the way down to Kansas City, Missouri. How many of you are from Ohio or Indiana or Michigan or Minnesota or one of these states that are covered by ice? They used to be covered by ice, okay? Actually, this time of year, they're still covered by ice. But
wait, you lived in Minnesota?
I was born there.
What? Gross.
I know, it's disgusting.
Ugh. You know what? I'm going to hide you for now. No,
Good.
Okay, I'll bring you back. All right.
Good.
there's all kinds of evidence around those states that you can prove there really was an ice age. When ice pushes out, it piles up a pile of rocks in front of it. When the rocks are left there, when the ice melts back, it's called a terminal moraine. If it pushes the rocks to the side, it's called a lateral moraine.
You know what? I'm pretty sure he got that right, so we're going to drink for it. Good job, Kent.
When the ice melts back, it leaves behind lakes called Kettle Lakes. Minnesota, the
Look, we're still in an ice age.
Oh my goodness, he's right. Well, yeah, technically we're still in an ice age, but I know what he means.
That there was ice further south.
Yeah, basically, a lot farther south.
land of 10,000 lakes is full of Kettle Lakes. As the ice melts back, the ground actually lifts up because the weight is gone. The ground may lift up quite a ways.
He's right about that too. In fact, the one and only earthquake I've ever felt was as a result of this. And I was watching Paranormal Activity at the time, and the instant the earthquake hit was when the demon was doing scary stuff. And I kind of freaked out a little bit, so drink for that.
This very realistic movie.
Yeah, it was so realistic it made my entire house shake. And it was honestly kind of scary, because for a little bit I was like, oh damn, the demon's real. And in my place. And then I was like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's probably an earthquake. And I checked the news and I'm like, yep, that was an earthquake.
That's called isostatic rebound. There is no question those things actually happen. The question for the Christian is, where does this fit into the Bible? And what froze the mammoths? Some of the big, hairy, hippie elephants that are found frozen standing up. Food.
Hey, that's the Royal Beast Museum in British Columbia. I've been there. It's nice. Go there. It's also mirror flipped, I think, but whatever.
Still no Hogan theory.
Yeah, RJ, I don't know that we're going to get anything that could qualify as a theory at this point.
Food still in their teeth.
I mean, Ken
What
doesn't know
happened
what evidence is. Why would he know what a theory is?
Right. I like how first he's talking about, like, preserved frozen mammoths, and then there's this mammoth, which is like, is that really a very well-preserved mammoth, Kent? Because that looks not like it was frozen with food still in its teeth.
I think it might be dead.
Like, that's just a skull.
I think it might be dead.
Yeah, well, it's definitely dead.
The mammoths. One year, it was reported that 20,000 mammoth tusks were extracted from the ground. Just 1 year. 20,000 tusks. Estimates are that 5 million mammoths perished in one catastrophe.
Whose estimates? Who estimated that? On the basis of what?
Says the word estimates and then drinks because he lied.
Okay, that
He drinks because of how stupid what he just said was.
that actually makes sense.
These red dots indicate where frozen mammoths have been found. The yellow dots indicate where frozen rhinoceros have been found.
Okay.
What happened to the mammoths?
They froze.
Well, some of the mammoths are frozen in the upright position. Their undigested food in their stomach and mouth is an interesting situation. They died of suffocation. There's no water found in the lungs. The small ice crystals in the blood indicate they probably froze in less than 5 hours. That requires something less than 300 below zero.
What?
Now,
What?
What?
I'm pretty sure anything will freeze at any temperature below 0 Celsius.
But not in 5 hours, though.
Why would it need to freeze in 5 hours again?
Because he said it must have frozen in 5 hours based on ice crystals in the veins or something like that.
I'm going to need a serious citation for that, Kent. But okay.
never gets 300 below zero on Earth. The coldest temperature ever recorded from National Geographic
So they didn't
is
freeze
minus.
I guess not.
Can arguing that it froze in 5 hours and then also that they didn't freeze in 5 hours?
I'm not sure. It's incoherent.
Yeah.
Is it incoherent enough to drink for?
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
Okay.
Minus 127 degrees. That's pretty chilly. But that's not cold enough to freeze the mammoths. What happened?
I'm sorry. 127 degrees isn't cold enough to freeze a mammoth? It's cold
In
enough.
5 hours.
Oh, in 5 hours. Okay.
Allegedly.
To freeze the mammoths.
He didn't complete his thought there. But
Fair enough.
1999, I was
theory or thought.
Right.
preaching in Alaska, and I took the little tour to go out on a boat to see the Portage Glacier. And I'm standing next to this guy on the boat. I got talking to him, trying to witness to him. I said, "What do you do for a living?" He said, "Well, I drill for oil in Barrow, Alaska, near Barrow, Alaska."
Hey, my uncle did that.
I said, "Well, when you..."
was like witnessing to someone though.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying it's true. My uncle did that.
No, but like, no, I was just like, why would he care if he wants to just tell him about Jesus? I don't
know.
Maybe he's just trying to be polite. I don't know.
Drill down. Do you find anything
Doesn't matter.
interesting down there?
Sorry?
No,
Okay.
it doesn't
He
matter.
said, you wouldn't believe the stuff we drill into down there. He said, just a few months ago, we were drilling down. We drilled through 1,000 feet of permanently frozen ground called permafrost, and we started bringing up pieces of wood. And we always take whatever comes out of the well and lay it out on the ground so we can get a core sample of what we're drilling through to know the formation. He said, we drilled straight through a tree that was standing up. The tree was 300 feet tall, standing up under 1,000 feet of permanently frozen ground.
I don't believe you, but okay.
Well, I preached in Barrow, Alaska a couple years ago.
I don't believe that either. No, you didn't. You know why you didn't, Kent? Here's why you didn't. Because basically, unless the oil company sends you there, you basically can't go. Because there's no reason to go, because it's super dangerous. So I just don't believe you. I think that's a lie. I don't think you've ever been to Barrow, Alaska. And you know what, Kent? If you ever watch this, because apparently your secretary has quote-unquote reviewed my channel. Yeah. You know what? In case, Yulia, you know what? I have nothing against you, Yulia. But if you're watching this, or Kent, if you're watching this, and you've actually been to Barrow, Alaska, prove it to me, and I will issue an apology video. Heck, you know what? I'll give you $100. I'll donate $100 to Dinosaur Adventureland. If you can prove that you've been to Barrow, Alaska. Produce receipts for your plane ride. Produce a video. Produce recordings of the preaching you did there, because I don't think you've ever been to Barrow, Alaska. I think you're lying, just like you're lying about most things.
There is only one tree in Barrow, Alaska, and it is about this tall in a Chinese restaurant, and they struggle to keep it alive.
Maybe.
Because they don't get much sun up there for months at a time. There are no trees outside in Barrow, Alaska. There are certainly no trees 300 feet tall. There are very few trees in the world that are 300 feet tall. How do you get a tree 300 feet tall, standing up under 1,000 feet of permanently frozen ground? What happened?
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I also don't think that any of this happened, so...
I'm going to give you what I call the Hoven theory of what caused all these phenomena, but I need to review.
Oh, it's time for the theory.
32 minutes in, and we're going to get the Hoven theory. Okay.
No, he's telling us we're going to get it. We still don't know if he's actually going to do it.
Fair.
A little science for you. Many people have been influential in developing this in my brain anyway. I appreciate Walt Brown and Henry Morris and Baumgartner and some of these guys that have done work, and the biblical flood and the ice epic had a great influence on me. But ultimately, I have to take the blame for this if it's wrong. I'm going to teach you a few things about science and then give you the Hoven theory. The inverse square law tells us if two objects are attracted to each other, like the Earth and the Moon, the force of attraction is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. In English, that means if you half the distance, or if you brought the moon into 1/3 the distance, you take the 1/3, flip it over, and square it. It's now 9 times the gravitational pull.
Hey, Kent got that right.
Wow.
I'll drink for that.
I can't. I have no more beverage.
Go get a beverage. What do you think this is?
Amateur hour.
You know what? Here, let's both go get beverages, because this one is running low. So we're gonna both get beverages, but I'm gonna make sure. Oh, after I switch to Kent with Bent. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna go to transitional slideshow, and I'll be right back. Well, I'm back, but I'm not sure why my display capture isn't working, so give me a second. Oh, well, we're gonna drink. We're gonna drink for that. But also try to figure out why this is, not working. Oh, it started working. Okay, I don't know. Magic. Crazy magic. Who knows? Yeah, I know my timer ran out, Robert adds it. I know. But I didn't drink for that yet, so I'm gonna drink for it now. Okay, here we go.
Inverse square laws apply when you're dealing with forces involving gravity, light, magnetism, and girls.
Uh-huh.
I travel every single week. I believe I've been home 8 Sundays in 14 years. I flew 215 times last year, was gone 210 days away from home. So I get to come home every week. When I get a certain distance from my wife, it's, hello, dear, how are you doing? When you half the distance, it is 4 times the attraction, not 2. 4 times the attraction. When you half the distance again, it is too late. So guys, the secret is stay about 10 feet away and you won't have a problem, okay? Now, the inverse square law is one thing to learn. The second thing you need to learn is a spinning top, any spinning object, behaves in a peculiar way if it is struck by something. If you throw a rock at a spinning top, it'll wobble around for a while, or you can do it with a gyroscope, and it'll wobble around, and then it'll recover, spinning smoothly, usually at some new crazy angle.
You know what? That was approximately correct. So I'm going to drink for it.
Yum.
Delicious. Bent, why are you quiet all of a sudden? You're not quiet anymore. Never mind then. Here we go.
You can actually determine when it was struck if you could see a graph of the wavy line of how it behaved as it was wobbling. Interesting. The Earth has no doubt wobbled through the years. The North Pole has moved around. Today, the Earth is tilted over 23.5 degrees, which is why they always mount the globe on that 23.5 degree angle. Stonehenge is an interesting stone building. Apparently, it was built to worship the sun at summer solstice. But today, Stonehenge does not line up. The temple Amun-Ra was also...
You know what? He's right about that in Stonehenge. It doesn't line up anymore. Drink.
So apparently built to worship the sun at summer solstice, the longest day of the year. But it doesn't line up. Edexus, same thing. The Earth is tilted over today, and that's what causes the seasons.
Kent got it right again. Drink. Kent officially knows things that the flat earthers don't. So good job, Kent.
Usually on June 21st, occasionally on June 20th, but usually June 21st, it's the longest day of the year. Because the Earth is tilted, in our case with the northern hemisphere, we're tilted toward the sun. So we get more sunlight. And the North Pole gets pure sunlight all the time, 24 hours.
Only during the summer, Kent. But, okay, sure, whatever.
George Dodwell, the famous Australian astronomer, did a lot of study of the shadows, of the solstice shadows recorded by ancient astronomers. He said, you know, it looks to me like something struck the Earth. When he followed the wavy line made of the solstice shadows, he said something struck the Earth about 4,350 years ago and caused the Earth to wobble for several thousand years.
Yeah, because precession isn't a thing. Precession of the equinoxes? Nah. Instead, some gigantic thing struck the Earth conveniently about when you think it should for the flood, Kent. That's a much more likely explanation. Even though previously your explanations for the flood didn't involve any impact. Who cares? We'll just add this in there to explain the precession of the equinoxes. Even though you don't need to explain it. It could just be the same. You could just be like, yeah, the Earth has a precession of the equinoxes. What about it? That's just how God made it. I mean, okay. You don't need to explain anything here, but let's see what you made up.
Today, the Earth is pretty stable. The Earth's North Pole doesn't move around very much.
Wrong. It moves around just as much as it did before. But hey, whatever.
But could it be that something actually struck planet Earth about the time of Noah's flood?
Could it be? Yeah.
That's what the scientific evidence points toward.
No.
Interesting. Today, the Earth is tilted over, and that's what causes the seasons. The first mention of cold weather in the Bible is in Genesis chapter 8, after the flood. I doubt they had huge polar ice caps before the flood came. I
It
flew
was
up as
not
far as we could fly.
cold before the flood, ever. Anywhere on Earth.
I just love this. It's like, oh, the
Can't
first
hold
time the Bible mentions a thing is when it came into existence, apparently. When did the Bible first mention horses? Because I bet it wasn't in Genesis 1 or 2, so I guess God just didn't create horses.
I don't know.
They evolved later out of non-horses, I guess. Take that creation as... You know what? I'm going to drink for that, because that was just... Ugh. I checked, by the way. I have 2 more cups pre-staged for drinking.
Golly.
So, yeah. Well, I pre-staged apparently like 5 drinks, because I'm a...
You just anticipated it was going to be this bad, and you
Well, it's a
correct.
3-hour thing.
Yeah, and you were correct.
Oh, my goodness. This is the dumbest episode I think we've ever done. I think this takes the cake.
Without a doubt. There's no competition.
In Canada and then drove 2 hours north of that, way up into central Saskatchewan. We were only right about here. There's a whole lot of earth above us, but they said this is about the limit of habitable land where you can actually do farming, because north of here, the seasons are too harsh, you can't do any farming. There is a huge chunk of planet Earth, north and south, near the poles, that is simply unusable for farmland.
I mean, it's a lot smaller to the south, but sure. You know what? He got that right. I'll drink for it. Which reminds me, you know that museum in BC, the Royal Museum there? When I was there, they had an exhibit all about the changes in what crops can be grown where over time due to global warming, which was interesting. Because it was like, hey, you know, if the global warming goes at this pace, then you'll be able to grow pineapples in like Wisconsin in like 2150 or something. And I was like, oh, well, that's weird, but okay. I just thought that was interesting. It was like this. It was just this whole thing where it was like, oh, hey, look at the bands for different crops, and the bands were, you know, pushing north and south. So I don't know, just interesting. Someday maybe your descendants will be able to grow pineapples in Minnesota.
I mean, you could probably do it. You'll still be alive. You've made it 150 million years.
Right,
so
but
far.
humans might be the end of me. You never know.
Kent Hovind might be the end of you.
Tonight, possibly.
Now, the Bible says God formed the world to be inhabited. I don't think what we have today is anything similar to what Adam and Eve saw. Next thing you need to keep in mind, the moon has craters on it, but we never see the moon get struck by anything. Where did these craters come from on the moon?
We haven't seen it happen in the few centuries that we've been watching, so it never happened. Got it.
The moon is... Okay, so the moon is far away, and the rocks that hit it are pretty small. So, like, I don't know, do you need, like, a super-duper telescope to see that when it happens?
Actually, you know what? I don't know that it hasn't happened. I'm going to Google right now.
Like, what is he talking about? Like, Eddie-sized?
I'm Googling observed lunar impact. Okay, here we go. This is from NASA. Oh, come on.
NASA? What's that?
Oh, hey, look! It looks like just in. Okay, but I'm just gonna tell you.
I thought you were gonna show everyone in the chat.
I don't. Fine.
No, that's fine. I just thought that's what you were gonna do.
That's fine. Look, here's a list of things going back to April 2018 of observed lunar impacts. Here's a map of them. It's not exactly unheard of for things to hit the moon, Kent. Like,
well, that is 2005 to present, and I think this video is from 2004.
So you think that there just weren't any before that? They started up again, right?
So
when we
maybe they
looking?
didn't have the technology to detect it. I don't know. They probably did. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Kent wouldn't do research.
Also, I do want to show one thing here, which is this. This is a 3D model someone else is working on for my speculative evolution project. And it's not the final version, but I am enthusiastic about it. I like it. So, and it's based on a creature designed by who designed the initial creature for this?
Beethoven.
Oh wait, now that's like Kent Hovind's nephew, right?
No relation.
No relation. So you're not related to Uncle Kent.
No. Yes and no.
Okay. I mean,
we're all related,
right?
So in that way, yes.
Okay.
But I don't want to be actually associated with him as being a part of my family. So in that way, we're not related. I don't want him to sue me for pretending that I'm his nephew. That's really why I put no relation in there. In case he ever hears of me and he's like, that guy's not my nephew, I'm going to sue him.
Fair enough.
No relation.
Even Mercury has craters on it.
What do you mean, even Mercury? Like, why wouldn't it?
Well, because scoffers would always assume Mercury could never have craters. Now that we know it has craters, that proves the flood.
I'm going to drink for that, because that's amazingly stupid.
You just got to think the way he thinks. Just say something and then say it proves the flood.
Where did these craters come from? Mars has a canyon much larger than Grand Canyon.
God created them.
You know what? He's right about that. Mars has a canyon about the length of the continental United States. So I'm going to drink for that. It's called Valles Marineris, and it's awesome. And I own 2 globes of Mars, so there.
Yeah, you do.
I know, you've seen them.
I don't remember seeing 2, but I do remember seeing 1.
Oh, I own 2. I own a height map and a true color map.
Of course you do.
When the scientists studied the...
Oh, but how many globes of Earth do I own?
1?
Nope.
None?
Yep.
I have a globe of Earth somewhere.
I don't even have one of Earth. I just have 2 of Mars. Because, screw it, why not?
this canyon on Mars, they said, wow, this canyon formed in a matter of weeks.
No, they didn't. No one said that.
Because they say there was melting water in one of the craters. It overflowed the rim.
That's not the canyon in question, Kent! Oh my god, no! Oh, I'm gonna drink. Alright, I'm gonna show you a picture of the canyon in question, because this is... Oh my... God damn it, Kent. Oh... Okay, so let's go to images. We'll get a nice little image. Oh, here's one where it overlays the continental United States. All right, open image in a new tab. Here we go. This is the canyon. That's the canyon bigger than the Grand Canyon. Okay, so that's that canyon. Here's Kent's Canyon.
You know how that canyon formed, right?
I do, actually.
It was the flood on Mars.
No, it wasn't.
How else could it form?
That one actually
Only
formed...
floods can form.
That one's actually a tectonic fracture, where the crust of Mars pulled away.
Sure only floods can form canyons that big.
No, actually,
think about it.
They can't even form
Would
canyons
Uncle Kent
like that.
lie?
Yes. So yeah, this... He can't even get which canyon he's talking about, right?
I want to know what Kent thinks about that, though. Like, obviously, I'm just trolling a bit, but if he's convinced the Grand Canyon was formed by the flood, how does he explain how that canyon was formed?
I don't know, because it looks nothing like the Grand Canyon, basically. I mean,
But it's so big. How could it form without a flood?
It formed because if you look to the top right, you'll see the Tharsis Bulge, including the largest mountain in the solar system, as well as gigantic volcanoes. And as they pushed up, the rest of the crust split as a result of this upwelling of magma from the mantle of Mars. This is actually just a fracture in the crust.
I know, but I believe you. I don't know, because how would I know? I would never learn that. But I want to know what Kent would say.
Oh, I don't even know, because he's
at.
just pretending that it's this tiny little canyon here.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, doesn't look a whole lot like the Grand Canyon, because there's no switchbacks, and, like, there are no not sharpish, but, like, yeah, it just doesn't ever switch back, and there don't seem to be any tributaries. So, already, it doesn't look at all like the Grand Canyon, but let's see what he says about it.
And washed out this canyon very, very quickly.
I mean, maybe.
Well, duh. Why can they see a canyon on Mars where we can't find any water for sure and say this thing...
Well, we can find water for sure, so I'm going to drink. In fact, the permanent part of the Martian ice caps are water ice, Kent. So, you're an idiot again.
You know where that water came from, right?
The flood.
The flood, when it shot all the water into space.
Oh, yeah, just like T.D. Lane said, it was the flood bukkake.
Mhm.
Don't search that on Google with your safe search.
There's
off.
no way this is a monetized video.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably not.
...form quickly, and you can look at Grand Canyon on planet Earth and can't conclude that water formed that canyon very quickly. I don't understand the stupidity involved here. Looks to me like you ought to be able to see that. As a ridge at the edge of the crater...
Sorry, go ahead.
There's a lot you don't understand, Kent Hovind.
That's true.
...gave way and this canyon formed in a matter of months, certainly less than a year, said one of the scientists. Next thing to keep in mind, it's called the Meissner effect.
I like how he just showed us like a top-down map, and it's still not the map that's bigger than the Grand Canyon. That canyon is not bigger. In fact, I don't even know if it has a location on it. I'm trying to find out.
As a ridge at the edge of the crater gave way and this canyon formed...
Do you see any location?
It's blurry. I think that's just a... I don't know what that is.
Dem Vallis. Okay, let's Google that. We're gonna search this out. Dem Vallis. It's about 700. It's about 700 kilometers long. Here's the Wikipedia page. Okay, we're gonna move you because your face is in the way.
Sorry.
That's all right. And it's significantly larger than Earth's Grand Canyon. All right, I guess that's fair. So that's what it actually looks like. Let's see. It looks like water may have collected in Gusev crater, forming a giant lake, or the Spirit River, yeah, whatever. So, all right, you know what? I'll drink for Kent saying it was significantly larger than the Grand Canyon. So, okay. He got that right. Although,
okay, but is that the
tiny
picture that he's using, though?
No, he used a height exaggerated map, but I mean that's
which
fair.
is what your point was, I think. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's fair. But yeah, it's certainly not the major canyon on Mars that people talk about. So, but yeah, it still doesn't look anything like the Grand Canyon. Like I can see maybe one tributary, and there are no switchbacks. And yeah, overall, it's much less steep. So yeah, this actually does look like an outflow crate of a river or a breached dam. So yeah, nothing like the Grand Canyon. All right, let's put you back roughly where you should be.
Put me where you need me to go.
Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Formed in a matter of months, certainly less than a year, said one of the scientists. Next thing to keep in mind, it's called the Meissner effect. How many have ever seen two magnets? You put them together and the one will float on top of the other one. You know what I'm talking about here? It's called the Meissner effect. That's how the Japanese trains go. We rode on one of those trains when I was in Japan. Man, they go flying down.
Yeah, but the Meissner effect, like you put on the screen, is a magnet floating above a superconductor. The Japanese bullet trains don't use goddamn superconductors, Kent. Because no one is cooling down the tracks to like fractions of a degree Kelvin. They're electromagnets, Kent. They use electromagnets, not superconductors. Holy crap. How wrong? I'm going to drink for it. I've ridden these trains, by the way. Well, by trains, I mean one train. Well, I guess it was probably two trains because I rode one way and one the other way because we were in Sasebo when I went to Nagasaki and then I came back to Sasebo.
Same. I did all that too.
So I don't know if it was the same exact physical train. It was the same train route. Also, I had some really good food in Nagasaki. And a really weird trip to the memorial there for the bombing. That was weird.
I was there. I still have pictures of that.
I don't know if I have pictures, but it was just weird to stand in front of that monument. That was like the top of the monument is where ground level used to be. Mm-hmm. And yeah, realize and then you look around and you realize you're in a gigantic crater.
Yeah.
Yeah. If And then to realize that like the bomb that dropped on Nagasaki is like the smallest nuclear bomb that has ever really been detonated, except for a few test
Just
bombs
imagine
beforehand.
if the flood had happened there. I mean, they would have blown Nagasaki out into the middle of the solar system.
Yeah, it would have turned into Pluto or something.
It's probably what Pluto is.
But yeah,
It was like,
I'm just gonna say, it's a surreal experience to stand in the middle of a nuclear blast crater.
The tracks with magnetic levitation. No resistance that way, no friction.
Well, not no, but less.
Next thing to keep in mind, there are comets flying around through space, and these comets are extremely cold, 300 to 400 below 0 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Don't lick it. I need to find out if any of you are or were as dumb as I was as a kid. How many of you have a piece of your tongue stuck to a pump handle or a flagpole someplace on planet Earth right now because you licked it when it was cold? Come on now, be honest. Put your hand up. Okay, there's several. All right.
did Kent get smarter? Like, when he was a kid, he was that dumb. Did he get smarter when he grew up, or is he still that dumb?
I don't know, but I'll be fair.
I mean, he's probably not licking holes anymore, but...
Yeah. I mean, but here's the other thing, right? Like, okay, kids are dumb. Like, whatever. If you licked a flagpole during winter, like, okay, fine. I don't remember having done so, but whatever. RJ says, pay attention to the shape of the canyon. It doesn't wind. It's a straight channel, like the Scablands. I believe I talked about that. But you are very much correct, RJ. T. Lane said, Kent is a effing idiot. Yeah, of course he is. And then Brainbug said, you can't have regular conductors on a train that fast, so they have to get superconductors. Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's how that works.
I'll lick something 300 below 0. Trust me on that one. Okay, that'll be the last thing you lick for a while.
You know, I was going to
If you
do
throw a
that,
snowball-
Ken, but now that you've told me not to, now I won't.
Well, I mean,
Now I won't go lick a comet.
it's good advice. You should not lick comets. That's
But I needed Kent to tell me that.
right.
Too fast, it'll break apart. You couldn't possibly shoot a snowball out of a cannon. If you did, it would simply break apart in pieces before it even got out the end of the barrel.
You know, I don't know that the breaking apart thing is the only problem. I feel like the actual gunpowder explosion might melt the ice. But I've never tried it. But then again, Captain Kirk fashioned a cannon out of bamboo, so what do you know?
So a super cold ice meteor, if it were coming toward the Earth, would build up speed because of the inverse square law.
Yeah.
As it got going faster and faster, it would break up out in space into a bazillion little ice crystals.
The Roche limit. Okay. All of which would have this gigantic kinetic energy, which would have to be converted eventually to thermal energy upon contact or earlier. Keep going.
Those would then shower down on the Earth as super cold snow.
Bent, I know you had the Rational Wiki up on this earlier. Do you have it up now on how much thermal energy would actually be added by this?
It was like 9 point something times something to the 32nd power joules.
So it would really boil the
For
Earth.
the flood. For the flood,
Oh,
too.
for the impact? See if you can grab the numbers for this while we keep going for a bit.
No.
Next thing you need to keep
Nah, just do it.
in mind, the Earth has a very strong magnetic field, but it's getting weaker. At the time of the flood, it was probably about 15 to 20 times
what exactly
stronger.
am I looking up for you?
The
Energy for the comets?
yeah, for the comet impact.
Let's see.
Okay. And you know what? I'm just going to say, sure, it hit around the poles, or the fragments hit around the poles. Like, whatever, that's fine.
Than it is today. The magnetic field is weakening. The magnetic field would deflect super cold ice crystals to the poles, most of them. Also, super cold ice is easily statically charged.
Citation needed, but okay.
The northern lights are caused because of the Earth's magnetic field. How many have ever seen the...
Just compare it to 2,700 impacts per second for 40 straight days.
Of what?
Of the Godzilla impactor?
Oh, and that's for the comet?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean, is that what it says?
But they have prograde comets energy 1 times 10 to the 26 joules.
That's for the impactor? That he suggested?
No, that's for prograde comets.
Oh,
in general.
Oh, for comets in general. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say that no matter how cold it is, that's going to add thermal energy to the Earth, not subtract it. So we cannot explain an ice age via this method. So I'm going to drink for it. Also, I'm going to drink for Kent, apparently implying that the northern lights are the result of ice crystals hitting the Earth's atmosphere, even though it's actually ions hitting the upper atmosphere from the sun. So there you go. I drank a couple times.
Northern Lights. Unbelievably gorgeous. If you've never seen them, it's worth just get up there. So I've seen them in South Dakota and up in Canada. Unbelievably beautiful. The Northern Lights
I mean,
are something to...
Yeah, he's right. It is unbelievably beautiful. I'll drink for that. That is really cool. Also, Jupiter has them.
Also, it seems like there's an empty building he's talking to.
That's true. Where are all the people? I hadn't noticed that. Interesting.
We're seeing.
Well, they showed
Anyway,
people before, but you couldn't see them with Kent on screen.
They didn't come back from lunch.
pre-flood world was
I
very
got my
different.
free sandwich.
The world probably had a canopy of ice or water above the atmosphere. We cover that on video 2. Now,
Well, I'm going to drink for that because that's unbelievably stupid.
Yeah.
There is no viable way to keep a canopy of water or ice over the Earth in the long term. And by long term, I mean hours, without just constant miracles.
there are some creationists, including Walt Brown, who disagree. They say there was no canopy. And I think the arguments they use can be easily answered. And I'll be glad to discuss that if you'd like more.
Yeah, but he's not going to now.
Next thing to keep in mind. Who on earth was Peleg? Genesis chapter 10, and I hate to say this about the Bible, so God, don't listen for just a minute, okay? But Genesis 10 is boring, okay? As you
Dum dum dum! Kent's going to hell. Confirmed.
Kent's going to heck.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kent's going to heck.
Come on.
I might go to heck later because I might play some Doom Eternal after this. Yeah.
And stream it on Top Hats Off?
You know what? If you want me to stream Doom Eternal on Top Hats Off, type 1 in the chat. If you don't care, type 2 in the chat. Or if you don't want me to, type 2 in the chat. And we'll see what happens.
read through that chapter, it's got all these big names that nobody on earth can pronounce except Alexander Scorby. You know, so-and-so begot so-and-so, and he
Who's Alexander Scorby? Does he mean Scoby, like the Scoby reference Bible?
Maybe he does.
Okay.
begot so-and-so, and he begot so-and-so. And you're reading through this long, boring chapter of everybody begotten everybody, and all of a sudden you come across verse 25. And it says, unto Eber
There's a
were
lot
born
of
2
words in the
sons.
chat.
The name of the one was Peleg.
There's 2. There's 2 ones in the chat.
Two,
3, 4.
4.
All right.
At least 4.
All right. Well,
For in
let's
his
see.
days was the earth divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. Well, now hold on a minute. Peleg is the only guy, it doesn't say anything about anybody else. Why does it say something about Peleg? It says in his days was the earth divided. And then it says his brother's name was Joktan. Nobody else gets their brother mentioned. Why would his brother be mentioned?
Yeah, my brother Phil should be mentioned in the Bible. Gosh darn it. He was on my channel. He did a Leaving Young Earth Creationism with me. He has a great mustache. There you go. Adopted brother, obviously, because he's a human.
Obviously,
and
because
I'm
he's
a
a
dinosaur.
human, you're a dinosaur.
Right.
Well, the word Joktan means shorten. Peleg means divided. Peleg was born about 100 years after the flood.
Oh, by the way, if one of my mods could link the Top Hats Off channel in case anyone doesn't subscribe to that.
I'll do it.
So that way people can look, because apparently I'm going to be streaming to the Top Hats Off after this. Because apparently yeah, sure. That's the answer.
Notice he only lived to be 239. His daddy and grandpa and great-grandpa lived into their 400s. What was different? What happened in the days of Peleg?
Ooh, the
Next thing you need
Maybe.
to keep in mind, the pre-flood world had a canopy of water above and water under the crust of the earth. Okay? Now, I made a decision years ago as a new Christian I was 16 when I got saved, and all the atheists in my city started coming after me, trying to get me converted, away from Christianity.
Yeah, because when anyone ever converts to Christianity, a newsletter goes out to all the atheists. So that way they can all chase you if you've converted to Christianity.
Scoffers Weekly.
Exactly. You might not have heard of it, because it's only for atheists. Oh my god, I'm going to drink for that. It's so stupid. Oh my goodness, Kent.
And I had some real problems believing some of the things in the Bible. They were showing me supposed contradictions and all that. We'll cover more on that in video 7. But I had to make a decision as a 16-year-old new Christian. I said, Lord, I'm going to believe your book until somebody can prove it's wrong.
Yeah, okay.
And then he just believed it anyway.
Well, okay, Kent, here's my statement. Kent, you are a child abuser, and you're a murderer. I'm going to believe that until you can prove your innocence. Go ahead. Good luck. Let me know when you can finally prove that you never murdered anyone. I don't know how you're going to do it, since anything you could offer, I could just say, yeah, well, maybe you just murdered someone while I wasn't looking. So unless you're going to give a complete 100% video record of your entire life, I don't know how you're going to do it. So, yeah, there you go. Until proven otherwise, Kent Hovind is now a murderer. I mean, he already is basically a self-admitted child abuser, so I guess that doesn't terribly important, but we'll just go with the murderer part. Yep, Kent Hovind's a murderer. You heard it here. I mean, unless he can prove otherwise. Go ahead, Kent.
Yeah, maybe he could prove it.
Yeah, prove yourself innocent.
Some of my friends...
Oh, and not of any particular murder, just in general.
decided they're going to doubt the Bible until it's proven right.
Yeah, because that's the thing you do. You doubt any positive claim until there is sufficient evidence to accept it. I'm not here to tell you whether or not there's sufficient evidence to accept the Bible under any particular interpretation, because I don't care, right? At least for the purposes of this channel. But yeah, that's how you do things. When someone says, "Oh, hey, Bent, did you know that this North America was formed by the great Dweeblacks 18 billion years ago?" Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
What can you?
Nope.
Yeah, it's true though. You know how I know? Because you can't prove it wasn't.
I can't prove it either way.
Yeah, so it obviously is true.
It must be true.
That's
what else could
That's
it be?
how proof works, apparently.
So evidence,
I think that's a
proof,
mistake.
theory. A lot of things Kent doesn't know. Science, yeah. A lot of things Kent doesn't know about.
Yeah.
We know for sure he doesn't know what a dinosaur is.
Well, we do know that for sure. In fact, you know what? I'm just gonna drink for the idea that you should believe anything until it can be proven wrong.
Oh, because it's stupid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, were you being sarcastic this whole time?
You never know.
So Kent's
I think
not
I
a
made-
murderer?
No, he totally is until he can prove he's not.
Oh, okay.
Right.
The right decision. I said, God, I'm going to believe you even for the things I don't understand. And he's proven himself
Where'd
on
all
just
these
about
people
every
come
one of them.
from?
There's a couple I still got questions about.
There's a lot he doesn't
There was an atheist one
understand.
time, came to the preacher and said, Preacher, I don't believe anything in the Bible. I only believe science. He said, Preacher, if you can prove one verse out of the Bible scientifically, I'll believe it. The preacher said, well, okay. He grabbed the atheist around the neck, grabbed his nose, and began twisting his nose. Pretty soon, of course, the blood is pouring down his face, and the atheist said, what on earth are you doing? He said, I'm proving the Bible. It says the wringing of the nose bringeth forth blood.
I'm sure this really happened.
I mean, I don't even think he is trying to make his audience think it really happened. I think he's just pointing out the absurdity of the idea that everything in the Bible is wrong, because obviously that's not true. And look, again, I'm not here to tell you about the correct interpretation of the Bible or whatever, but if you think literally everything in the Bible is false, I mean, that's just stupid. There are obviously things that are true in the Bible.
Did Jesus actually weep?
I mean, I'm not going to comment on any particular verse, but yeah. Like, the belief that literally everything in the Bible is false. Like, it's hard to find any book where literally everything is false. So, okay, good job, Kent. You managed to prove that there are things that are true in the Bible. Okay.
I don't recommend you do that unless you get a really hardcore atheist. Then you might want to try that one. But I'm going to give you the Hovind theory. Now, this is supposed to be good teaching.
Wait, now he's going to give us the Hovind theory?
Now
42 minutes and 43 seconds in? Okay.
Technique. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you what I told you.
That's true.
Okay, that's a lot of stuff.
What he will tell us.
Yeah, I believe him.
You get all that? We're going to go through it very quickly. 8 simple steps of what I think caused the flood and explain all these strange phenomena on the planet. Then we'll go into them in a little bit more detail, and then we'll close this down. Noah and the animals got safely into the ark. A 300-degree below zero ice meteor came
And cooked the earth. That's what he's going to say, obviously, because that's what's true.
flying toward the earth and broke up in space.
Oh.
As it was breaking up, some of the fragments got caught and became the rings around the planets.
What? Like Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune? They're all from the same one comet?
It's a big comet.
I'm gonna drink for that.
I thought the comets were formed by the flood, Kent.
Oh,
That's
my
what
goodness.
the hydroplate theory says. I just read that like an hour ago. All of them, prograde and retrograde, were formed by the flood.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Why didn't we do this one earlier?
This is the one I've been looking forward to
for months.
for so long.
They made the
6 and 7.
craters on the moon, the craters on some of the planets, and what was left over came down and splattered on top of the North and South Pole. This super cold snow.
This idea of how big the solar system is and like how small comets are compared to the solar system.
Ken Hovind knows about as much as space as J.J. Abrams, which if you've ever watched a J.J. Abrams space movie, you will realize is goddamn nothing.
No, he doesn't. Ken has to know less.
Than J.J. Abrams?
He has to know less than J.J. Abrams. He has to.
I mean, all right, but I don't know. It seems like J.J. Abrams knows basically nothing about space, except that it's there.
J.J. Abrams he writes fiction and science fiction.
Yeah, but he also had a frozen planet that was in view of Vulcan, such that Vulcan was a noticeable giant planet, even though Vulcan's a super hot desert planet.
Okay, maybe.
So
maybe.
But
yeah. Did he think that? Did he think that was real?
I don't know.
I was like, well, this would be impossible. He's like, I don't care. It's a movie.
Apparently, J.J. Abrams also thinks that space travel, even at hyperlight speed, should be instant because the entire episode, 9 of Star Wars takes place in less than 16 hours. Even they hop all across the galaxy. I'm just
not saying it's realistic. It's a science fiction movie, unless J.J. Abrams honestly thinks that's how it would happen.
Look, just let me hate on J.J. Abrams.
You can hate him.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say he's as bad as Ken Hovind in trying to be accurate about anything that has anything to do with astronomy.
All right.
Other than the fact that the Northern Lights exist. He got that right.
Space exists. He got that right.
Yeah, that's some people don't believe in space, and Ken Hovind does.
Ken Hovind is doing slightly better than some people. Okay.
Fell on the poles mostly, burying the mammoths standing up.
Wait. Hold on. So this comet went everywhere in the solar system to make rings on all the planets, which are really far apart, by the way, to make all those craters on the moon and Mercury.
Yeah, but they were lined up at the time, though. They were lined up at that time.
Right, sure. But when it finally reached Earth, it's like, well, it's just going to miss the middle and only get to both poles. Okay, Kent. Go on with your theory. Let's hear more. It's
ice
so
on the North
good.
and South Pole cracked the crust of the Earth, releasing the fountains of the deep.
The impact is what released the fountains of the deep, because they were totally stable before that, despite the incredible pressures.
So even though the hydroplate theory says all the comets came from the flood,
yeah,
the first primordial comet must not have.
So here's what I want to know. Did God, in the initial creation, just set it up so it was going to impact the Earth like 2,600 years after the creation of the Earth?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so God, so the whole Earth was doomed from the start, no matter what Adam and Eve did?
Well, I think maybe he made it right after
Oh, and they just skipped over that part in the Bible? Where God was like,
It's hard
and
to
now
say.
let there be a doom comet.
Maybe God made it knowing they were going to sin, but if they decided not to sin, he would have miracled it away.
Okay,
No one would have
so
had to know
either
about it.
way, it's weird, at the very least.
Spreading ice caused the Ice Age effects, the glacier effects that we see. It buried the mammoths, made the Earth wobble around for a few thousand years. And it made the canopy collapse that used to protect the Earth and opened up the fountains of the deep. During the first few months of the flood, the dead animals would settle out and dead plants and get buried. They would become coal if they're plants and oil if they're animals.
What? Oil is not even oh my god. I'm gonna drink because oil is not even close to primarily made of animal matter. Alright, so I'm just gonna give people a heads up. Apparently, since I'm streaming Doom Eternal to my alternate channel, it's gonna be a little bit rough, because that's a hard game, and I am drunk. But I'm gonna probably stream using the original Doom Guy costume, unless people really hate that. So, there you go.
And those are still found today in huge graveyards. Fossils found in graveyards, oil found in big pockets under the ground. During the last few months of the flood, the unstable plates of the Earth would shift around. Some places lift up, other places sink down. That's going to form ocean basins and mountain ranges. And the runoff would cause incredible erosion, like Grand Canyon, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, no, the Grand Canyon can't be a spillway. It's not straight enough.
Over the next few hundred years, the ice caps would slowly melt back, retreating to their current size. The added water from the ice melt would raise the ocean level, creating what's called a continental shelf. It would also absorb carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, which allows more radiation to get in, which is going to shorten people's lifespans. And in the days of Peleg, it finally took effect.
Then why, according to your own chart, which you showed earlier, did his father live beyond him by like 800 years? Just don't address that. Yeah, okay.
The Earth still today shows the effects of this devastating flood. Now, a little more detail on each one. God told Noah, the Lord said to Noah, "Come thou." Did you catch that? Listen very carefully. What did God tell Noah to do? He told him to come into the ark.
That's what she said.
He didn't say go into the ark. He said come into the ark.
Again, that's what she said.
Oh my God.
Where does God have to be in order to
Phrasing,
say
Kent.
that?
Phrasing.
So God was in the ark. Got it.
Yeah, but God is supposed to be omnipresent, so I don't see what the difference is. But also,
But
again, that's what she said.
His consciousness was in the ark.
Oh, he was
at that
specifically in the ark in some special way? Okay. I mean, I don't know what that means, but sure.
That'll preach, brother. There's a
Means
sermon
that's
right
where
there.
his
Just
attention
right there.
was
Come
occupied.
into the ark, Noah. Come with me. We're going on a little
God with infinite attention.
And he's smiling about that. Like, I figured it out. God was in the ark.
cruise. Come on in. I'm here with you. And when the flood was over, God said to Noah, go out of the ark. God was with him the whole time. That would be quite the cruise.
Yeah, that would be quite the cruise. But it's also like every other cruise, if God real, because that's how God works. But whatever. Wait, do you guys hear the helicopter? Bent, can you hear the helicopter? There's a stupid helicopter flying overhead.
Nope.
Whatever, I can hear it.
And the Lord shut the door.
Service?
What's that? Sorry.
Is a helicopter an essential service?
I guess. It's probably a cop helicopter. By the way, this isn't politics, it's just advice. And it's not legal advice, because I'm not a lawyer, but never talk to cops.
By the way, good eternal security verse. If the Lord's got you saved, you're saved, okay? You can't get out of God's hand.
Even if you want to? Okay, sure, whatever.
When this 300-degree below-zero ice meteor came flying through the solar system, some of it broke apart. It made craters on Mercury and craters on the Moon. 4 of the planets today still have rings around them.
I want to see the orbital mechanics on this. I really do.
This is the most amazing thing. Like, this whole Kentwood band has been rough, but once he started talking about the Super Duper Comet, it's been awesome. And I feel like I've never heard this from him before, ever. Does he not talk about it anymore?
I don't. Oh, sorry, I bumped the microphone. I don't think he does. Like, this is so craziness.
But he references seminar number 6 and 7 so many times. Usually 6 is the most commonly one.
I think that's just because he wants to sell it, but he doesn't like really want people to talk about it. He just wants them to watch it.
This is the most amazing theory I've ever heard in my life.
You know what? It's super enough. I'm going to drink again.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
And the rings around these planets.
Oh, and T. Lane says model it in Universe Sim. Yeah, I would like to see this modeled in Universe Simulator. Ben, you have that program, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Aw. Actually, someone is currently modeling the solar system I have for my Speculative Evolution project in Universe Simulator, or Universe Sandbox, I guess it is. Yeah, it's Universe Sandbox. And it's pretty cool. And plus, I'm happy to report that so far, my proposed solar system seems entirely stable.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are made of rock and ice. Very interesting. Now, Walt Brown thinks some of the craters on the moon were formed when the fountains of the deep broke open and rocks went flying up out of Earth's gravitational pull, drifted around for a while, and clobbered into the moon. He may be right on that, I don't know. But it's interesting. He thinks the comets came from Earth, and water on Mars came from Earth when the fountains of the deep broke open.
Called it.
You did call it. You know what? We'll drink for a correct prediction. Wow, we're 46 minutes into this. We've been doing pretty good on this.
Yeah.
You could read about it for yourself if you'd like. The super cold snow would land mostly around the poles, because super cold ice is not only affected by the magnetic field, it's easily statically charged. How many have seen the Van de Graaff generator where they make your hair stand up? You know, we've got one of those at our science center at Dinosaur Adventureland. As this ice meteor came flying toward the Earth, it broke apart. Pieces would settle in around the poles mostly, causing the Earth to wobble for a few hundred years.
I mean, wouldn't the effects from impacts on both poles be more or less canceled out?
Don't use reason and logic.
Oh, I forgot, yeah.
Just accept it.
Good point.
Or maybe even a few thousand years. The canopy of water overhead collapsed and it rained 40 days. The water underneath the bottom, under the crust, came shooting to the surface, and the water kept going up for 150 days. And everybody drowned. It probably took 6 or 8 months to kill everybody during that flood. We all get the idea, well, it rained, everybody died first day. No, it took a long...
I'm sorry, what's that?
Really, people were swimming around for like 7.5 months. So like, I can't swim anymore. I have to drown now.
You know what? I like the picture of people like bumping up against the ark and like crying out in horror and fright and trying to apologize for their wicked ways. And Noah's just like, yeah, screw you guys.
Screw you guys. Me and God are in here chilling.
And like, there's like, you know, there's like mothers holding up their babies, like, save my innocent baby. And he's just like, no. Yeah, that's
swim all the way out to the middle of the planet, wherever he was.
Well, I mean, presumably he would have started where there were people.
Yeah, I guess. And they just hung onto the side of the boat for 7.5 months. They must have been.
Well, I mean, they must have been able to do it for a while, right? Like, I just like the picture. You're like, yeah, there's all these people holding onto the boat, and like some of them are holding up their babies and whatnot, and like, you know, Noah's just like, I don't care.
Time for people to die. People would be running and fighting for higher ground. As that got more and more rare, as the water keeps coming up and up and up for 150 days, the water increased. By the way, they're still discovering chunks of ice flying around in space. Here's an article about a scientist who discovered chunks of ice as big as this auditorium are hitting the Earth all the time. They dissolve in space, but...
If there were 7.5 to 8 months or whatever, 6 to 8 months, before they all drowned, why didn't they just build their own boats?
Out of the floating vegetation mats that apparently were also around?
I mean, if there was still some dry land, cut a tree down, cut a couple trees down, build a little canoe for yourself.
I mean, I guess if you can find enough to eat and drink for 7 months, you can probably make a canoe.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that difficult if you have months to do it.
Yeah, No, that's a good question.
And there's like no YouTube to get distracted by back then.
But there's also no YouTube tutorials on how to build a raft.
Yeah, but someone of the however many millions or billions of people who are alive would have been able to figure it out.
Yeah, probably. But I think this is also where we're going to stop it, because we are coming up on 3 hours, which is what our plan was. So I guess any of my mods, link to my alternate channel, because I'm going to stream there in about a half hour. I'm going to give it a little bit just to make sure I have everything set up and all that. But I'm going to stream some Doom Eternal. I'll just go to the first level and we can stream some like narrative style stuff, where I'm not going to skip the what do you call it? Cinematics? Yeah, cinematics. I'm going to play on Hurt Me Plenty, because I said so. Let's see. Channel news. Wednesday, so not tomorrow, but the next day, should be the next episode of Noah Zookeeper. Saturday, I'm not sure what's happening. It will probably be, hopefully, the next episode of the Speculative Evolution thing. It won't be the final episode for Phase 2. It will just be an update. But also, chances are that that Saturday, I will say that a week from that day, new submissions for Phase 2 are closed. And then I will get through the rest of the submissions that I'm going to accept and negotiate and change things that need to be changed for people who have ideas that I like, but that don't quite fit in, because that's happened a couple times, but not many. Let's see. The next Tuesday will be Kent with Ben 22. Then I don't know what's happening the Wednesday after that. So there is the plan for the next week or so. I don't think there's any other channel news. I don't have currently any Leaving Young Earth Creationism streams lined up. I will be on Vandalia 1998's... Oh, actually, there will be a Not a Dinosaur. Actually, that might be this Saturday. It will probably either be this Saturday or next Saturday, depending on how far along I get on the Speculative Evolution thing. So Not a Dinosaur is coming up. There is another Not a Dinosaur that's already been uploaded. It's there. So I'm not sure the exact upload schedule, but there's going to be stuff coming out Wednesday and Saturday, and just like normal, because pretty much.
When is the debate marathon?
The debate marathon is still currently to be determined, because Erica and I have to get that video all done. So I have a script set up. Erica said that she would review it today, and we have a call scheduled for tomorrow to go over the scripts, go over our ideas, go over shot composition, all that stuff. So we're working on that tomorrow. It's going to be my big project for tomorrow afternoon, is working with Erica to get that video set up so that she can record her part, I can record my part, and we can merge the parts basically. Oh, drink from Mothra. So yeah, the 11th, like I said, I should be on Talking Time with Caffeine on Vandalia 1998's channel. If any one of my mods want to link that channel, that'll be awesome. I'm too drunk to remember who I'm going to be on with, but I think I'm going to be on with someone else. Maybe it was, like, maybe it's Eric or Erica or Jackson Wheat. I don't remember. Vandalia 1998. If you know, type it in the chat, because I'm way too drunk to remember that stuff. That'll be probably at like 3. I think it's like 3 Pacific or something like that. I don't know. Stay tuned. I'll tweet about it. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you're not following me on Twitter, go follow me on Twitter.
Twitter.
If you really like this stuff, please remember to leave a like on this. If you really, really like it and you want to help support me, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. It's a really big help. It's much more reliable than YouTube, and YouTube is just absolute trash when it comes to money. In fact, I'm still fighting with them to get them to allow me to take money out of this. you might not know this, but I've had this channel monetized for a long time, and people have sent me a lot of super chats, and I've had a fair bit of ad revenue and stuff. I haven't actually seen any of that money because YouTube are dicks about payouts, basically. I've requested my 3rd attempt to get a pin sent to me in the mail from YouTube. I've reconfirmed my address like 3 times. They still haven't actually sent it out. So I don't know what's going to go on with that. It's ridiculous. And even without that, if you look at like ad revenue, I make like a fraction of a cent per view. Every time you view one of my videos and you watch the ads, it's like 2/10 of a penny. It's like 1/5 of a penny. So, yeah, if you really want to support the channel, Patreon is one of the best ways to do it. And then merch is one of the other good ways to do it, because that money goes, well, a portion of that money goes straight to me. But again, if you can't afford to, then don't. I don't want people to go broke trying to support me doing stupid crap on the internet. But yeah, that's it for me. Let's see. Bent, is there anything for you? I guess all your shows are probably not happening.
All the shows are officially canceled, and we had to, us and every band in the rehearsal studio we were renting a room in, had to leave on Saturday by 8 a.m. We weren't even told until like 10:30 a.m., so I showed up ASAP. All the bands are pulling their equipment out. The mayor shut everything down.
Yeah.
And it's not essential. How is copper magma not essential? I don't know. But the mayor says, no, music's not essential. So we're on hiatus until May sometime.
And
we're still writing. We've got lots of stuff written. And
Atheist Junior, you're still welcome to send a super chat, because I mean that money will get to me eventually. I'm very confident. If you really want to send me money for some reason, email me and I'll send you a PayPal link. And if you send me a message, I'll make sure to read it out on my next stream. Like, if that's a thing you really want to do, then go for it. And plus, I'm fairly confident that eventually I will see that super chat money and all the ad revenue. But like, yeah, YouTube or Google is being a big dick about it. But yeah. So check out my other channel, Top Hats Off. There is going to be a stream coming up on that. I've already given out the channel info, so there you go. Make sure you like this video. I am the Dapper Dinosaur. Benthoven is Benthoven, and you are you. I'll talk to you all later. Also, Hydra Dominatus.